Hi, everybody. I'm Journey. This is Michael. We are an engaged couple, and this is everything in between. We have been slacking a little bit on the podcasting lately, getting a little into the winter coziness, little lazy winters. Um, I had my first latte today. Never had a latte. It was Taylor's latte. Because we stand Taylor Swift in this house. Love her. She's a queen. And I got a holiday drink. So I got two drinks. So I got this reusable Starbucks holiday cup. Not sponsored. Yeah, if only, right? Um, but so we've been a little preoccupied lately with the holidays. Now Christmas was Halloween because we were doing some big shit.
Yeah,
You could probably explain it
I
better than
think
I
the
could.
last time we did it was the Halloween podcast, and we were like, "Oh, we're gonna do some shit." We got to decorate pretty cool or whatever in my mom's front yard, making dummies and stuff like that. And we had a projector playing a movie out there, and a lot of people came and trick or treated, and it was cool. And I think I've caught the bug. Like, I talked a little bit about what had happened with my family, um, and how we used to do haunted houses every year together. How it's not happening anymore. But I think regardless of any sort of resolution with that, I've caught the bug. Like I want to keep doing that shit. It was just fun.
Yeah, yeah. It was a good kind of turnout. Like there were like waves of people, but COVID, there'll probably be more in the next couple of years. But we had some like movies playing on a projector. We had his grandma or doing the trick or treating. It was pretty good, and everyone else around the neighborhood and around your mom's neighborhood was out sitting waiting for trick or treaters. Everyone's ready to pass out candy. I think the neighbors even had spiked hot chocolate. Oh, it was a great time. But speaking of your family and Halloween, uh, today Michael wanted to kind of retell his story on this podcast, um, just so people kind of know where he comes from, know what's gone on, and why he thinks the way he thinks now. So, take it away.
Well, again, if you've already heard this story, you should probably skip now. This story's gonna suck. If you've heard it. Um, so yeah, this is your warning.
Or it might be fun to listen and compare, see what's left
Yeah,
out,
maybe
see
I
what
lied the first
a
time. You
little
never
bit.
know.
See what details you bring up now versus then.
But the reason I wanted to retell it is I was sometimes Journey goes to sleep before I do, and I'm just by myself. And in the other podcast that I had, I talked about trying to find people that like are depressed and have no friends and no one to talk to at all. And I definitely look for those people to try to be a person that they could talk to. So I wound up in one of those like depression chat rooms where like it literally is depression chat room and everyone's, but there's like a page or like space where everyone's chatting together, and that's kind of whatever. Well, maybe that helps some people, I don't know. But you can also do one-on-one, so sometimes people will pop in and be like, can anybody talk to me or whatever, and I would reach out to those people or whatever. But I was talking to this girl who was and who I told I'd give a shout out to. I don't remember the fucking screen name, but she subscribed to the YouTube channel. Anyways,
If you're seeing
so if
this,
you're seeing this, talking about you right now. But she was talking about she had some boyfriend issues and also some parent issues where like she kind of I don't know what the right word is, like not linked with me, or what is the word, like she felt what I felt,
yeah,
or whatever, a little bit, because she was very sheltered growing up. So like her going outside, she's never been used to that, being independent. She was like depraved of independence and afraid of the world and stuff like that. And I went through my stage of being afraid of everything. But anyways, I was showing her some.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Identified with you. That's
Right.
right.
Anyways, I was sharing a couple YouTube videos with her. One that I just addressed whatever my anxiety, but then I had to go to a different YouTube channel to send her a different one, and a different YouTube channel to send a different one. I kind of want everything to be on one channel, I guess. So that is the specific reason why I'm trying to retell my story. So it's all on the same channel, and I don't have to keep do this and that and this and that. So if you're watching this one's for you. Well, everybody too, I guess, And yeah, some parts of the story are weird and probably something you shouldn't ever say in front of your future wife. But I don't want to be dishonest or swayed in any way. I want to tell it like I would, just honest and raw and yeah. So if it sounds like I'm going a little vulgar at some points, I do tell Journey everything.
I've also heard the story probably 10
Yeah,
times.
so she's just yeah, she's not happy about it. No, I'm just kidding. But all right. So with that out of the way, when I was like 8 months old, I got this disease called meningococcal meningitis. And, I don't know too much about it. I know that I have scars, like big scars all over my body, and that, a lot of people lose their limbs and, their brain swells up and whatever. Apparently I had a 12% chance to live. So I was supposed to die, and they were like, trying to prep my mom for me dying, and she was like, her mind wouldn't go there. So obviously I survived that. The only reason I mention that is because of the brain swelling, and that I had diagnosis or whatever throughout my life, and some doctors think that that it was relevant, that maybe they fucked me up it fucked me up a little bit. Anyways, so growing up, I lived in a duplex, so I had my mom, me, and my brother in one house, and connected to us in the same building was like my grandma and my uncle, and at one point there was my cousin Ashley and my aunt Brenda there as well. So, and every year we would gather, all the time. Before the internet, we would gather a lot, like every birthday, like every time we could. Now, with the internet, you're not as deprived of socialness. I have a feeling probably a lot of families went through that, at least big families, that, before the internet, everyone needs some social to survive, to be happy or whatever. But yeah, the internet. Because I remember, being able to knock on people's doors, like, hey, is my friend home? Or, and, now that would be weird. Like, why the fuck didn't you text me first? But yeah, I grew up really close to my family. And, obviously I'm not going to tell you every single thing that ever happened to me. I'm going to try to filter through things that are important or weird or whatever. And, I didn't write anything down, so I'm just kind of, we'll see. Hopefully I get it all. And, obviously a part of me is stalling. Now I know what I'm going to say next, but a part of me was stalling because I didn't know what the fuck to say next. So growing up, I had a lot of diagnoses, as I said, with the, brain swelling or whatever. Like ADHD, bipolar, OCD, Tourette's. I had an IEP when I was in elementary school, which is like an individual education plan, I think. So like therapists and I forgot what the other word is. Just important people and my teacher and my mom all meeting together.
It's basically a way to just like figure out what's gonna work best to help you learn
Right.
better.
I'm just a really stubborn child who will not pay attention, and there were times where I would I'd be dragged to school kicking and screaming, my shoes flying everywhere. I think at one point I was at a doctor's appointment, my med doctor to get me meds, and I told my doctor if my mom tries to take me to school, I'm just gonna jump out of the car, and I did. Like there was a turn at a crossroads or whatever. You can go left and you would go to my house, or you would go straight and you'd go to my school. And as soon as she didn't make that left, she went straight, I jumped out. She was probably going like 10 miles an hour or whatever. It wasn't like fast, but I just, I didn't run away. I just ran home, and I think the cops were called that day.
The doctor called the cop.
I think the doctor called CPS.
Yes.
But
Because your mom did not call the doctor.
someone called the cops, though. And
I think
my mom probably called the cops, and they told me, don't
doctor
do
was
that.
mad at her for calling the cops.
Right. So CPS came. They're like, "Does your mom love you? Does she feed you or whatever?" And yeah. It's all me. I'm crazy. So that must have been fun for her. Anyways, I got transferred. Not transferred, but I moved. So if you live in the Tempe area, there's a Tempe Town Lake, the bridge. I lived on the Scottsdale side of it at the beginning of my life, and at like 9, we crossed over, and so I went to different schools, like making friends here, and then now different world, making friends here. What's funny is, and maybe it's not funny, but at every school I went to, at least elementary school, everyone played soccer. All the kids, like all the boys, played soccer. And I even went to my cousin Austin's elementary school for 1 year, and they played soccer there too. Like, it was just a thing that kids did. It was just soccer. And I don't know if it was I didn't like to run or what, but I was always the goalie. And, and I always, I don't remember much, but I remember taking pride in being, like, a really good goalie. And I remember, like, the leader of our soccer crew or whatever, there was one moment where I left the goalie field or whatever, goalie post, and I went to play in the field, and I remember me and him were both going for the ball at the same time on opposite teams, and we both kicked, like, each other's legs or whatever, trying to get to the, like, we were about to kick the ball, but we had each other's legs. We both flew back, and maybe that's my elementary school imagination, but it was super epic. Like, I clashed with the leader in front of everyone, and I remember I had a crush on a girl named Rebecca Hart in elementary school, and I remember telling my friends, and they're being like, immediate, like, don't tell anybody, but immediately I just hear them running across the field straight to her. Michael likes you, blah, 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 and just hearing a really loud ew, and that just hurt. Obviously that's not that one, but it was, being a little kid. And I think I always, I don't know, I think I've always just been more, I don't know what the right word is, but girls, like, I drawn to girls more, and it wasn't always, because obviously elementary school, I had little crushes, but like,
No, like authority figures.
well, just anything. I just always felt more comfortable, and they made better company to me. Obviously I like talking shit, and I do feel myself be a little more filtered around girls, but I've definitely spent way more time with girls or whatever. I only say that because I was trying to remember my friends in elementary school, and they were, there was a soccer group, but beyond playing soccer in the playground, any other time, it was, these 3 girls, I think Kelly, Rebecca, and her name was Brittany. No, it was the same Rebecca. I mean, I think after
But
yeah, but I think after the crush thing got out,
it
my
was,
mind kind of, maybe that was the end of our friendship. I don't know.
I feel like a lot of us experienced the you of elementary school. Definitely. It's not a good feeling.
Um. Anyways, I used to be really close with my uncle, and he taught me ACD, like rock and roll and South Park. Showed me all the comedies, Tommy Boy, the Adam Sandler movies, everything, all the good stuff, I would say. Taught me how to play hacky sack, and it's weird. As soon as I said hacky sack, I remembered thinking, in my childhood, there was two things that I really did a lot, and hacky sack with my uncle and a lot of members in the family, but also video games, like with the younger, like my cousins and my brother, but always watching my brother play video games, and those two activities were like the most frequent social things I had amongst my families. And it's really funny how later on in life I just, at least maybe not later on, but just throughout my life, I've really dominated that space. And I think because they were so important in my childhood, like I had to be the best at it. So anyways, I'm really close with my uncle, and he always lived right next to me, like the duplex. He was connected to my building, and when we crossed the bridge, my aunt, a couple of my aunts, and my uncle and my grandma and my other grandma and my other cousin, whatever, we all lived in this apartment complex together. We all had different ones, and they were scattered around the complex. So I literally had like a little kingdom as a child. And I say kingdom because my imagination would run wild as I'm running throughout the apartment complex, pretending I'm fighting bad guys with my stick sword thing, but it was just very family, like always surrounding me. So, after elementary school, I'm, obviously middle school is next, and I had friends in elementary school, but in middle school, people went into their like cliques, and maybe I just didn't end up in one. I don't know, but I remember friends that I used to play soccer with all the time. I would go up and talk to them maybe at lunch or try to talk to them, and they were just very like, I just felt the I'm not a cool kid and they are, and I was alone, and I got bullied every day. I mean, there's really not. I'm thinking of memories, obviously, okay, so there was this other kid that was bullied there too. And I'm okay, I feel myself trying to stop myself because I don't want to be that guy. Because I don't think I am that guy, but this is what happened to me. Okay, so sorry guys. I was like the only white kid at that school, and say what you will about that, but I was, in most of my being bullied, I was the white boy or the cracker getting shoved, fuck, you're a faggot, you're whatever, and I'm only saying that word, sorry, you know who you are, because that's exactly what was said to me over and over again. Your mom's sucking my dick, whatever, like just all the not raw, but just horrible things you could say to someone. Like, I remember being in a classroom with this guy, and like we were all separated into like little tiny tables, circular tables of 3 students, and there was this like popular girl, popular guy, and me, and he's just sitting there going like this, like, and like, this is your mom, and like obviously now I think probably a little bit maybe that's kind of funny, I don't really know, but back then, knowing that that guy is bullying me all the time, and like pretty much everyone in the school is, and the girl, who I've always viewed girls as the more caring whatever of the human species, she's just sitting there laughing at me, and and him doing that, like, I could still see him doing that in my mind. That must have scarred me. Like, anyway, so there was this other white kid. That's why I was having a time struggling saying that, because I don't want to be the racial whatever person. But there was like one other white guy, and he had a deformity where his fingers were like kind of small. Like, he had an arm that was smaller, and and it was stuck like this. But I remember one day at recess, or lunch or whatever, there was like a crowd running in the field, and there was like this squared up fenced area. It might have been protecting like some trees that were just planted or whatever, but they all ran past it, and I heard a lot of yelling, like maybe get him. I don't know, but I knew that it was an aggressive mob, I guess. But anyway, so there's this square fenced area, and they're running on each side of it, and the kids here, and everyone's trying to like scream at him and get to him or whatever. And I just remember running past everyone and standing with the kid and like pushing people back left and right, and just it being dark and stormy, and it was just like I had so much adrenaline trying to defend this kid who was weaker than me, and I'm small. I've always been a small person. It was 6th grade, so math,
Yeah.
But anyways, I remember afterwards, I definitely felt heroic, like standing up to all these people that have always, treated me like shit. And, I remember later on that day saying, oh, they're the F word. I'm sorry I said that word earlier if you're still watching. Well, because I said the F word earlier, so I'm further apologizing it. But they called me the F word again. And, that I kissed him. I must have been protecting the boy that I loved or something. So middle school wasn't that great. At least 6th grade. And, at least in this country, and obviously I'm not talking to the damn country. It's obviously a racial division, right? So I really hope people don't get caught up on the fact that I said I was the only white kid and I was bullied.
You're just stating the fact. You're like,
But there was one kid who was basically my bodyguard, my little. I say little because I'm little and he's littler than me. But I remember, not the beginning, but the early start of that year, I would see him just charge dudes down, twice his size, like tackle him full force. And this kid had no fear. And I remember he had a fro, like a square fro. I remember always fucking with him, and, maybe I'm not all that innocent, but I remember putting, I would sit behind him in class, and I would put pencils in his fro or whatever, and it would piss him off. But we later on became friends, and this is all in a year span. This is all 6th grade, but we later on became friends, and I remember this kid, like, when I was walking home from school, he was following me, and he was definitely gonna try something, and he did. He, like, started trying to punch me and shit, and I was like blocking it with my backpack, because I'm not gonna win this fight. But Cordell, this little black kid, just fucking boom, charges him, tackles him to the ground, starts punching him. He had the most energy ever. He's just this little warrior, and I'll never forget him protecting me. So, not a racial thing over here, guys. But anyways, moving on from that year, I got switched to an art school. No bullies. So I think of it as, number one, it's attitude. Like, whether or not you have an attitude or not. But the other thing is it's backward hats and basketball shorts and what have you, and just because we're already here, for me to defend myself on this sort of subject. I love the Temptations. I love Samuel L. Jackson. I love, plenty of whatever. If I had black friends, oh, that's not a real reason. Whatever. To me, it's as simple as black dude in a polo. Not frightening. White dude in baggy clothes and chains and whatever. Frightening. And this is only because I've had bad experience with a gangstery culture. And I've also had good experiences with all those people. I've smoked weed with plenty of those, it doesn't matter what color you are, but of that culture of like gangstery, rappy, side of people. So it's not necessarily if you like rap music, you're a bad person. It's more just there are certain types of people that are quicker to attitude, and that has nothing to do with race or color or whatever. Anyways, moving on. Trying not to get canceled by my 2 people that are gonna watch this thing. Anyways, so I get transferred to an art school, and the reason I went into in depth of like a gangstery culture is that it was just a bunch of hippies, like just a bunch of gay people, gothics, hippie, just weirdos. Everyone was a weirdo, and I don't say that in a negative way. I say that as in everyone loved each other and everyone knew each other. It was a very small school, and like
Theater.
huh?
It's a theater kids.
No.
Well, it's an art school though.
There's a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
just
that's a public school thing. I don't know.
it's a blanket term for weirdo.
Well,
I feel, especially if you're into the arts.
just a bunch of freaks. And
You might want to move your microphone up.
anyway, so I didn't get bullied at this school, and I actually made friends, like real friends. And I was in special ed. I talked about the IEP and getting into multiple diagnosis or whatever. Now that I think about it, I think I was just lazy, but I'm stupid, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, like, you don't even like to try and read chapter books. Well, maybe you just are lazy, but I think you do have. Mom calls it odd. It's Operation.
Yeah,
No. You just don't like authority figures.
I definitely don't like that.
Yeah,
But anyway, so I'm in special ed, and some of my friends are I don't think all of them were, but, a couple of them were. And I remember being in the classroom, social studies, where, funny story, the social studies teacher in that classroom is the guy I talked about with you, not with these guys. He took me to see a movie, and I spent the night at his house, and everyone's like, you spent the night at his house? That's so weird. Nothing happened, and you definitely shouldn't do that. It's definitely a wrong thing to do. I'm just a very different person. I don't know.
it was an art school.
It's probably not the right thing, but nothing happened.
The early 2000s.
Moving on. So I was in his class, and we were all sitting together, and I just announced it out loud. We are the Special Ed United, SEU. I don't really talk to any of those people anymore. I think I talk to like one every now and again. But I kept the name. Yeah, I mean, the reason it's Sue Mike is because I finally figured out how to put internet into my Xbox, which I thought was just a really hard thing. Like, only rich people have that. But it was pretty easy. You just plug it in. But I was, like, so excited. I just quickly, like, all right, Squiggly was taken, which was my brother's nickname that I stole as a child. So that's taken, so I can't use that. All right, and I thought that I would change it later. And then I realized later on it costs money to change. So I was like, but then, I got a group of friends that started calling me Sue Mike, and it just stuck.
SEU Mike, you weren't thinking Sue Mike, but then everyone just called
Yeah, I
you
was
Sue.
thinking SEU Mike, but now it's Sue Mike.
But now everyone, whoever sees his name is just like, oh, Sue Mike, because it's pretty close to Sue.
I think a lot of things happen that way, like out of your control, but it just fits. It's right.
You see it one way, but then it just.
Anyways,
Anyways,
so
you have a social studies teacher that's really cool.
I'm in middle school.
Really?
and I now have friends, and I'm at this weird art school.
Bunch of freaks.
Bunch of freaks, and you know, there's like different worlds, at least when you're a kid. So I had my school world, but I also have my family world, and family, whatever. I talked about. I was always hanging out with my uncle. And that was still true at this point. Anyway, so my uncle gets a girlfriend, okay, and the girlfriend that he gets has 2 daughters, and I don't know, 12 at this point, and so I'm always hanging out with my uncle, which means now I'm always hanging out with his girlfriend's daughters. Anyways, spend a lot of time with her, and one day it just sort of hits me. I mean, I've never been with a girl. I've always, I've had crushes or whatever, but I just remember looking into her eyes, and that was it.
Like, yeah.
Nothing I could do. So she became my girlfriend. So it was a weird situation.
Because your uncle was dating her mom, but not really.
Right. So technically, nothing weird yet, but
Right.
we're in the realm of some stuff.
They aren't nothing,
Especially since, we would still always go to family functions, like a big family group. So now I'm holding hands with my uncle's girlfriend's daughter. So it's like,
there's still no relation by marriage or anything.
right. So
Nothing crazy.
anyway, so
It's a little off.
sometimes I'm allowed to spend the night at my uncle's girlfriend's house. But I have to sleep on the couch, and yeah. Eventually that turned into she used to, because I was still in the complex with the majority of my family members. So sometimes she would go spend the night at my grandma's house, so I would get to see her a little bit, and at like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whenever grandma's gonna go to bed, I gotta leave. Grandma's probably the most responsible person in this story.
The girlfriend, huh?
Right, but grandma's like, get the fuck out of here. You
Near.
You gotta go.
Not even near it.
Eventually that turned into my Aunt Brenda's house, and then I would hang out with her over there. And somehow, some way, I don't know how this happened. A different time, whatever. There's no hate. But she was eventually allowed to spend the night at my house.
On the couch?
No, in my bed. And, I'm like 13, 14. She's like 11, 12.
Getting, puberty.
Right. We're 2 years apart, so it's not. But
Right.
we definitely shouldn't be alone together. At least not overnight. That's not. Yeah.
Right at right when you start puberty, just raging.
The
hormones.
only sort of excuse, and it's not even a good excuse, but the only sort of whatever is I didn't have a door, and my apartment was pretty small. Like
So you weren't doing anything crazy.
there wasn't any crazy amount of privacy going on. And as far as what we did and did not do, I'm not really gonna say anything.
Oh, wow.
No, there's no reason to. But the only thing to say there is that I ended up getting way too close
Right.
to a girl way too early on in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, obsessive
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Oh, yeah. Raging hormones.
All the stuff. And, we were off and on. And sometimes we'd fight.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're kids. Adult couples fight, but this is just a new situation for both of us. And
Not know how to navigate a relationship.
right. And as much as I say I was popular or not popular, or wasn't getting bullied in my new school, I still wasn't that popular. Like, I had my SEU, but I wouldn't really talk to anybody else, especially girls. earlier on, I said I would hang out with girls in elementary school, but now we're in a different game.
Oh, yeah.
In middle
Pharmacy.
school, I was ugly. There's a reason I always wore a hat, my whole life. Nowadays it's kind of like a baby blanket, but back in the day I didn't like the way my forehead looked. And, back then my mom was still dressing me, so I didn't have my own style. Maybe I'd wear like track pants and a t-shirt that didn't match, big old buzz cut head. I was ugly. And anyways, once I started to actually think about how I looked and took care of myself, I grew my hair out. I was looking pretty damn good. At least that's the results that occurred, and I sort of thought so myself. So some of the girls, before that would tease me, like, oh, but, they weren't serious about it, like, oh, you're so cute or whatever. But they were making fun of me because I was clearly ugly. And there was a point where, me and, I don't really want to say too many names, but me and girlfriend that I have are on and off again. And, some of
You could
the,
give her like a letter. Like
let's
a,
call her C.
C.
So me and C, we're on and off again. And, some of the times that we're off, other girls are starting to look my way.
Oh, so you're going on with other girls.
I'm going on with other girls.
You're off
I'm
with
going
C.
hard on with other girls. And, back at these times, holding hands is like, whoa. And kissing is like, damn. So it was really nothing more than that at this point.
Right.
But I'm going in hard.
Oh, yeah.
And it feels really good. Yeah, so these girls that made fun of me for being ugly are now, like, trying to kiss me. And it feels pretty good. I was also, like, basically the quarterback of that school. And I only say that because it was an art school, so there was no sports. But there was hacky sack, and I was definitely the best at hacky sack. That's all there was.
Oh, but I mean, like, you play that on, like, breaks.
But that's the only physical thing there besides, like, going to dance. And,
Right.
I didn't do that.
It's a pretty hard sport.
Well,
Try it.
maybe there was a girl quarterback that I didn't know about. But in my eyes, I was the fucking quarterback. So, so I got that going for me. And, I know this is shitty to do, but my mouth is dry. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to edit it to where I come back, and it'll be like...
And we're back. Just like that. Wow. How did we do it?
So I was getting a lot of kisses. And, I mean, the reason I got caught, and I definitely got caught, like, I didn't tell her, was we had, each other's MySpace passwords.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I, had some messages in there.
You were commenting on other girls' pictures?
No, with, like, private messages, like, we should meet up and kiss.
Oh.
Stuff like that.
We should meet at the park
Well, not like that, but,
and smooch.
it was implied. That's the implication.
It was implied the meetup was for a kiss.
Oh, yeah.
There's no other reason to meet.
So, I kissed a lot of girls during that period. So I felt pretty good.
Only during the off periods.
No, it was during the on periods too. I got too sucked into the kissing.
My
I really liked those kisses.
Michael,
Bad,
my
middle school freshmaner.
bad. You horny teenager.
So she found out, and she I remember she spent the night at my house, and
After she found out.
yeah, I think so. I mean, it was
After-
addressed the morning after.
Okay, so she did not tell you she
Maybe
knew.
she found out. Maybe like she woke up before me and like looked at my shit,
Oh,
or you know, maybe she already knew. I have no idea.
so she found out while she was spending the night at your
Or she already knew and she like
house.
this
Didn't
was
tell
like
you.
her goodbye. I don't
It was
know.
like last hurrah.
So she spent the night at my house, and I remember the morning after. You know, she told me that it was over or whatever, that she knew and it's over, blah blah blah.
What a queen. I'm sorry, but
And
oh,
I remember like kissing her, like maybe one last time or whatever. We had like a quick makeout session, pretty hardcore.
make out sash. Just
Like honestly, that makeout session reminds me exactly of that like Eminem and Rihanna song. I don't know what the fuck that song's called, like volcano tornado situation. Because we're making out and like, you know, we started laying on the bed making out, and there's a wall right here. And I don't know what she says, but she says something implying like this is definitely the last time or something. And I had some issues when I was younger, and my response to that was like punching the wall that was right next to us. And I remember seeing like bits of wall fall down on her hair, and you know my arms now bleeding, and so that music,
dramatic.
yeah, it was very dramatic. And
Correct.
at that point, I think we had some fights, and you know I was very obsessive, so I had already had like holes in my walls.
How old are you when she's calling it quits?
I'm probably 14, turning 15, or already 15.
Okay.
So this is still freshman year, I think. Yeah, it's definitely freshman year.
But it's you guys. So you guys been on and off for like
Year and a
year.
half, 2 years, kind of.
I just wanted to keep it.
So, you know, she says she'll always love me or some shit. I don't know what you say. And then she leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that song called? Hide and Seek? I don't know how to say the band's name. Imon Heap? Imagine Heap? Or whatever the fuck.
Imagine Dragon?
No. It's, maybe? Heap? Something like that. It's,
How does it go?
you don't care a bit. No, you don't care a bit. Fuck. Oh, I don't know what the main chorus is. Like, literally type in. You have your phone? Get your phone out. I want to give credit where credit's due. So just type in hide and seek and then start typing I am and it will pop up.
Yeah, Imogen Heap.
Imogen Heap. So did I say that right the first time? And you were questioning me?
I just didn't know who you were
You
talking
know
about.
that song. No, you've heard that song. No, everyone's heard that song. Everyone has heard that song. Go ahead and play it. Maybe it'll sound bad.
You're right.
Well, I don't care. We're not making any money. Little ad situation. While that's playing, though, I'm going to keep talking until it gets to the chorus. Anyway, so when she left, this song was playing. Well, I played this song on repeat forever and just sat there and yeah, just randomly. I don't know how it happened. But no, I just had the song on repeat and I was just like, this is the end of the world, forever. And, you know, darkness throughout my whole body. Just sad. All joy gone. And empty. That's probably not the chorus that everyone would notice. Just keep it playing. It should be fine. Anyway, so obviously the song was playing. But I just was lost. Very angry. But, you know, I guess most of the time I was just sad. But, like, when my mom would come and check on me or, you know, I was very quick to get mad. It would not take that much for me to just punch another hole in the wall. I think it's, like, in 15 seconds, there'll probably be a chorus that people will recognize. Anyways, I became a monster. And, you know, I was also on different meds throughout my life. I think around this time I was on Seroquel, which is a tranquilizer. But it can't.
It is an antipsychotic.
Well,
It does get you drowsy, but it is an antipsychotic.
well, I was told by my doctor it was a tranquilizer. It makes you a zombie. And you took a. What dose did you take?
Right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, how much is the dosage?
I think I'm at 25 milligrams.
I was at 200. Yeah. So.
I don't know this one.
Whatever. Well, I'm sure a lot of people do. Did you? For how?
I just didn't hear the song. That's okay.
Well, how long did you get to get disconnected for?
I think because I looked at it, but I thought I was just missing it. I think I only got disconnected for the song.
So we good?
Yeah, I'm good now. So, if you can't hear me, it was probably just through I played a song, so that's probably good. We didn't get copyrighted.
Maybe. Anyways, back to darkness.
Yeah.
I was on a lot of meds,
Mm-hmm.
and the one I think I was currently on probably was Seroquel, which is a tranquilizer. Journey's currently on it now, but you know, an off-brand and a very low dosage.
Oh, that's what they didn't hear too. It's not just it's an antipsychotic, but it does make you sleepy.
Right. Anyways, when I took it, I would get like really hungry and really tired. Like, I mean, when the memory I have of taking it is that, like, my brain is slowly starting to shut down and squeeze on itself, and you know, it's a forceful sleep. I've fought in it successfully before, but it takes all of you.
Yeah, I mean, for that age, 200 milligrams, that's a lot.
There were kids in rehab that had like 800.
Oh my
And they were
god.
dead.
Oh my god,
Not
yeah.
dead, but like zombies.
20 milligrams makes me sleepy. 200.
Anyway, so my mom tried to wake me up at one of these times, and I remember having flashes, or my memory of it right now is flashes of me hurting my mom, and you know, I can't tell you everything that's ever happened to me. I don't remember everything perfectly clear. But I know there were several occasions where I was abusive. And I honestly can't tell you if all of those things happened whilst on meds or not. So I don't want them to be like, oh, it's because of the meds. But I had a lot of rage with me, and even before the Courtney thing, I had some rage issues. But after, fuck, I said her fucking name. Whatever, sorry, Dad.
Who?
I said someone's name. That's just. Anyways, after C, I lost my mind.
Mm-hmm.
There must have been like 50 holes in the walls, and I would cut myself and, you know, punch myself in the face and just beat the shit out of myself, burn myself. You know, I'd do it in class too. I remember it in the art class. They had little razors, on like a pen
like a
thing. Maybe it was for like clay or something. I don't know. But I would just, I mean, I was mad and sad, but I know that I did it because I wanted someone to see it, and I wanted someone to talk to me because I was sad and alone. But, you know, at the same time, when my mom would try to talk to me, I would just fucking yell, like, leave me the fuck alone.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there was I don't know why. I don't know why I would seek attention, but also not want attention from certain people. I have a feeling that's probably common amongst teenagers. Maybe you want a lot of attention from your
peers.
yeah, but not your parents. Fuck that.
No, your parents
That's
can't
probably
understand
a
it.
thing. Not the beating up people, but
Right.
that's not good. And I don't think I've really told that part of the story before, at least not in a very open way. But it's a very important part because, after that point, or when there was any clarity within my lost, rage-filled mind, whenever I could take a breath and think, I would come back to reality and see a monster. I would see myself as someone evil because I love my mom and I'm hurting her. So I must be the devil, the worst person that could ever be. So I'm doing drugs now. We could just skip a bit.
I mean, it's not too far.
Yeah, my friends start smoking a little bit. And, the first time I tried it, I freaked out. Because I wasn't used to, I'm used to reality and how things are, but, things changing and moving and weird feeling, and that's kind of weird. So I just wasn't used to the fact that reality itself...
Was this when you were in the parking lot?
Yeah.
I feel like they laced it with something.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I've never had an experience with
Well, either way,
the double
the fact that
glass.
reality can just change,
Mm-hmm.
freak me.
Yeah, I get you.
But, a couple tries, and eventually it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And, all my friends were doing it. We were partying, drinking, and it was just really fun. And I didn't have to think. I was either sad or mad all the time. But it was like...
You felt good.
No, I was
You were
I was
just
at peace.
chill. Yeah.
And there was some badassery to it. I definitely felt like I was fucking awesome.
Rebellion.
I ended up getting kicked out of the art school because I didn't go. I would either show up at 12 or not at all.
Well, I want to clarify that.
I mean, there were multiple reasons why I got kicked out of that
No.
art
You were told you're gonna get expelled. You can just leave now, so I don't have to expel you. You don't have that on your record, and so you chose to leave so that you weren't kicked out. So he was close with it. You were kind of close with your dean at that school. I mean, like
I don't think
you were
she
friendly.
definitely liked my sister.
Oh yeah,
But she's like,
your sister has gone over to her house. Like but I mean, like you were.
I knew her.
You
She
knew her. You
me.
were friendly. Your mom and her were friendly because she had
Maybe,
2 kids
I don't
going
know.
there.
At
but-
that point, I have no idea.
Well, she at least
Definitely
had
not the same degree as with
Oh,
Taylor.
no,
or
no.
T.
T.
Shit.
But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that he didn't just get kicked out. He was asked to respectfully step down,
Or I would be kicked out.
or you would be brought down with force.
So I go back to a public school, which would have been the high school that I would have gone to. So the kids that were at my middle school that were bullying me were there, like all of them. And, maybe they grew up. Could have been a middle school situation.
Did any of them remember you?
Some of them did, but no one was bullying me anymore. I was also the fucking badass who was smoking cigarettes in the bathroom.
Yeah, well, there was probably. I mean, I know most like public, like in big cities, it's usually like more districts come to one high school, so it was probably a little more.
Either way,
Or
there was
maybe
a
not.
lot of them there,
Yeah.
and they remembered me, but no one
Yeah.
did anything. And so it could have been a middle school fling that they were bullying me. I don't really.
Well, yeah.
know. But I also just had a different vibe around me. You know, I
Oh,
had
yeah, you weren't just
loss
some.
and carnage and all the things.
You were now an angry teenager. Like them, they could sense.
Um, but I also had got in trouble with domestic violence. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I had a court date coming up.
Did you want to talk about that story?
Well, I mean, I sort
You're
of
just
already
now
did.
all of a sudden.
I at one point during my anger fits, you know, I don't know which point, I had a lot of them. I was reported, and there was going to be a court date. That's all. That's really all I remember of it. I don't remember. I mean, maybe a cop showed up at some point. I don't really remember.
You don't remember who reported you?
Well, of course I do, but I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Okay.
It might be obvious who could have done that. But so I have a court date coming up.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, I just wanted to. I didn't want people to just be confused with like, you all of a sudden have a court date for something.
got in trouble.
Just skim over this. a
Court
little
date,
bit.
who knows what happened? Could be anything. So go to court, and I'm put on house arrest. I'm not allowed to smoke weed anymore, but I definitely keep smoking weed.
For sure.
And I think I'm missing. I skipped one thing. So I had a couple court dates. Okay, sorry. Just I wanted to. I think it was my mom's idea. Prep court. Like, I wanted to look good for the judge, or at least that was my mom's idea. So she put me into a voluntary rehab.
Okay, to make it.
Yeah, I never tell this part of the story, but it's actually a good part. So I'm put into this voluntary rehab, and you know, I think I stay there for a night, and then the next day, you know, after dinner or whatever, so a full another day, the second night, I'm, you know, put to bed in a room, and you know, there's another kid in there with me, and I remember like hearing the staff or whatever, because it sort of felt like little apartments. So there was like a living room and 2 bedrooms. So the kids would go sleep in the bedrooms, and the staff would like watch the living room or something. So I heard this. They were watching The Knight's Tale. I don't really know that because I must have watched that movie a million times. But I waited for a really loud part of that movie, and there was a door inside my room, and it was unlocked. So I opened it, and it led to the parking lot.
What? Did they just forget the lock?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
So I quickly realized I could get the fuck out of here. So I gathered up all my shit, and
Was the other kid awake?
no, he was asleep.
He didn't hear you either.
I didn't.
Oh my god.
So I left.
Right.
I'm 15. I'm running through the parking lot. I'm in Scottsdale. I live in Tempe, so I'm across the bridge, far across the bridge, at least for a kid on the street. You know, and I'm thinking cops are probably looking for me at this point, and you know, whatever. But I got a big backpack on, and I'm, you know, running through.
Definitely don't look suspicious at
in the
all.
middle of the night, fucking running through the darkness. I make it back home. It was a very, like, I don't know if you've ever had like a good walk alone in the middle of the night, but it was a very like.
I generally don't walk alone in the middle of the night.
Well, it's just very peaceful. Especially
I mean, I've been out on like a porch at night, and that's pretty peaceful. So I'll just imagine
when
that.
there's no freaks out.
Yeah.
Just walking, and the streets are
It's
empty.
nice, yeah.
Like maybe
Oh,
if you
yeah.
get up in like 4 in the morning and the sun's coming up, no one's awake. It's sort of like
Yeah.
that, but just pitch black and
Yeah.
walking with the stars. And obviously I'm in a city, but you know.
No, I get you.
Anyway, so I get back.
So you went back to your mom's
I go back
house.
to my mom's house,
Okay.
and my mom's like, "Why the fuck are you here?" And then I guess they found out basically at the same time that I got to my mom's house, which is like an hour or 2 later, probably like 2 or 3. Now that I'm thinking about
my
the
God.
walk, And I told her, because I wasn't really doing that great in school, I told her, don't take me back. I'll just go to school. I'll go to school. I don't want to go back. And she's like, all right. So
Was it that bad, or were you just?
I mean, it was.
You
It
just didn't
was.
like
I
it?
couldn't leave. Like it was basically a, not a prison, but like you can't. You're here and you cannot leave. You know.
I just didn't know if the experience was bad, or you just didn't like not being able to leave.
I mean, I don't really remember too much of it. I just know
I
that
guess
I
you were
was
there
in
for a
a
day.
place that I was not allowed to leave from, and I was, used to going out and doing whatever the hell I wanted. So locked away.
Oh,
Not,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
even if it's 5-star, whatever, I'm still locked away. It definitely wasn't that, but anyway, so I start going to school, but I'm still smoking. Like I love smoking, and I'm on house arrest, but I'm still, my friends are still helping me out, hooking me up, on the way, because they track where I'm going, school and back. But on my bus route, there's actually a kid who has weed there, so I always stop, get weed, and then continue on. And court comes up again, and I've still smoked. I'm in trouble.
They drug tested you.
They didn't drug test me. But I think that they were going to,
So you
and I
just
knew
messed
they
up.
were going to, so I was just like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of that concoction that I think they have now that like that you probably don't even need anymore because weed's legal, but like dilutes your pee or whatever.
Yeah, there's a bunch of.
I was just a
remedies
kid,
or whatever.
so I just
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have done that, but so I go to jail or juvie, whatever. I'm in a cell, and the first day I don't do like you have two options. You can either stare at the floor or you can read, and I don't like to read, so I just stared at the floor. And there's a lot of thinking going on. There were a lot of kids that were just like a lot crazier than me, and
No question. Because I'm curious, and I don't know that I've ever asked this. Did you have the option to read in the jail cell? Like,
Yeah.
did you have the
No,
option of books?
so,
But you chose not to.
yes. So basically, there was like a giant room, open room, where we would all be together, sitting,
Yeah.
all day, and then
Yeah.
at night they would take you to your cell.
Okay.
So
there
while
was,
you're
like,
in the
a-
room, the
Okay.
common area room,
Yeah.
you could read.
And you chose
I
not
chose
to.
just to sit there.
Either you're really lazy or you really hate
I don't
reading.
like to read.
my
But the
God.
second day, maybe
Imagine
my
just-
senses came to me, and I asked for the dictionary because I was like, "All right, I'll just read
I'll
some
just read
words,
the Yeah, let's not read a story. Let's read random words of the English. Like, did you go in alphabetical order
No,
or just
I
random?
looked up words that I thought I wanted to
Like
know.
fuck?
Like the only word that sticks to my memory is purity.
You look up here.
Yeah, I think it's the state or quality of being pure. At least that's what I read back then.
Yeah.
Definitions change nowadays. But that word, I wanted to be good. I wanted to be a good person, because I was not a good person. And that wasn't good. So the third day I actually got a pencil and paper and I just wrote.
They allowed you to have a pencil
Well,
in
I was
jail?
in front of people. It wasn't private.
Oh my gosh, no.
And we were also kids or juvie.
Yeah.
So
Raging hormones.
what does raging hormones have to do with a pencil?
Violence, anger. You've
yeah.
punched holes in walls.
Well, I didn't stab anyone with it.
Well, I know. I'm just saying. That's insane.
But anyways, when I got my pencil, I just wrote
Yeah.
like all day, every day. I wrote a book. Probably wasn't good. Probably everything was misspelled, but I was really proud.
You had a
of
dictionary.
myself. I didn't. I'm not gonna. What do you think? I'm pretty lazy.
It was probably misspelled even after I read.
Punctuation, all the
I
things.
had access to a dictionary. Did not use it.
Doesn't matter.
Just for purity.
The words are what matter, at least to me.
I know, it's just a funny thought. Like, you were just that lazy.
Well, I don't think I actually had the dictionary at the same time. So,
You were either allowed a pencil and paper or a dictionary, not both.
not the same. That's too much. Too much shit going on there.
You were gonna be way too powerful with that.
But I wrote every day.
Yeah, okay.
Not every day. I wrote all day for like 2
All
or 3
day or
days in a
day?
row.
How long were you there?
Huh?
How long were you there? A month?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we'll get there. Maybe.
So early on, you were like, I cannot just stare at a wall.
So I think throughout that time I was there, I would change things, perfect it, or whatever. It was called Purity. That's the book. It was just about what had happened so far, and that I wanted to try to do good. And the food there was soggy. I thought my ass was hairy. I had to shower with other dudes. Not as hairy as them.
Were they nice? Did anyone bully
No
you?
one really talked to each other. Like, I don't
Everyone's
think you were
pretty-
really allowed to. I remember, like, when we would go to, like, the lunch or, like, to get the cafeteria or whatever, like, we would have to be in a line, and we'd have to, like, stand in the right spot, distance from each other, and we're only allowed to look at the top or the back of the other person's head. We can't look any other direction.
Oh God.
So I got very used to being a robot, just doing it is like a lot of kids would act up, and I wanted to get the fuck out of there. So I
Right,
just
yeah.
did everything I was told to get out. So I had to shut down because I think like the second night I like cried, but after that, no emotion, gone. And before going into jail, like it was hard for me to 'cause did have to do one drug test. It wasn't like for the court, but it was before that. I don't know. And I was like nervous, because someone's watching. So I would take forever or whatever. But after getting strip searched everywhere I went, like bend over, cough, let me see your balls. No, the shame was gone with that as well.
Seems off. That seems wrong.
Yeah.
Ship sex a child.
I mean,
I don't care.
Maybe that-
I know it's for a reason, but just seems like a terrible job to have.
let me see your balls, kid.
Yeah, bend over, kid. Like, is it like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously it's for a reason. It just seems so like someone has that job.
So right before I got locked up, I punched a door. I was trying to get drugs or pot, whatever. Pot. And they wouldn't give it to me, and they shut the door in my face. I immediately punched, and I punched my hip with my pinky knuckle, so I broke my hand. So I actually went into jail with a cast on. But there was something weird with my insurance, so I had to, they weren't approving some sort of something that I needed because I was locked up or whatever. It was confusing. Adults that at that time maybe could tell you what happened. Me being a kid at that time has no idea what happened.
Right.
But I was released for insurance reasons.
Oh.
So I went back to school, and after my surgery I was given Vicodin, and they started giving it to me in jail, which
Seems
just like you had to go to school while you were in jail still when you were a kid, and it sucks. I hate school. But
especially in jail.
when I was on Vicodin,
Oh God.
I was so interested in everything everyone had to say. So I really liked Vicodin. So when I got out,
So odd though that they would give someone who
well,
couldn't pass a drug test. Like, I know, but still. To give a kid Vicodin for a broken arm? That seems extreme. Fucking doctors of the 2000s, man.
So when I got out, I was taking Vicodin, and I think I took 12 while I was at school. I wasn't trying to, but I really liked it. So they put me back in jail. I think I was out of jail for like a couple days or a week or something. Not very long. So right back to jail. Straight to jail. Straight to jail.
You've seen that clip,
Yeah.
haven't you?
Take a bunch of pills, straight to jail. Don't go to school, straight to jail. So I'm in jail, and I'm not there for that much longer. I get transferred to rehab, and I was in rehab for 4 months.
Sorry, rehab just makes me think of drugs, and they put you on Vicodin. And I'm like, get the fuck over to rehab,
Yeah, you straight to
you
rehab.
crazy druggie.
Um,
Here's some drugs.
so I'm in rehab now, and I'm small. I'm a small person. Always have been. I think I was probably 115, maybe. Like my normal is 120.
Yeah.
But I got up to 130 while I was there. Like they gave me double food, so we would all have meals, but I had 2 meals, and because I wasn't smoking or whatever, I don't know, I just really liked food, especially those PB&Js. Damn. And every Friday you were allowed to have some soda. There's some situations going on. I miss that food. 3 meals a day. What the fuck?
I mean, 120 is technically I think bottom or 10 under what they say your average weight should be for your
I'm a
height.
small guy.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's probably why they were oh, we need to beef him up. This boy's too skinny.
So, rehab was cool. Made some friends. There was a guy there who had huffed motorcycle something, gas, I don't know. But he was really slow. Everything he did and said was just really slow. Hey, man.
No, he did not talk like that.
I mean, maybe not in that tone, but that speed, for
Really?
sure. Yeah, he was slow.
Oh my god. That would drive me insane.
But he was my best friend in there.
Oh my god. You're such an impatient person. I don't understand him.
I loved him. When I would take my Seroquel at night, which was after dinner,
Don't do that.
oh yeah, I was in
Oh my
Seroquel
God.
till I was 20. Till I was 20 years old.
So you're 16.
I turned 16 in rehab.
God, so there's
I have
a
birthday
lot that
in
happened
rehab.
when you were 15.
15 to 16.
Was rough.
Well,
That's a long year.
yeah,
God
it
damn.
always gets crazier.
I just never realized how much happened in the span of a year.
Oh yeah, that was a crazy
Insane.
year. Yeah,
Because you turned 16 in rehab.
yeah,
So
ever since I was talking about C and now, that was 15.
art school, getting out of art school, going to public school, going to jail, going back to school,
15 is
going back
15,
to jail.
15 is 30% of my story.
Yeah.
Um,
God dang.
Which that's some year.
And you broke your arm that year.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And you had that court date.
All of it.
Oh my god.
Big.
I never realized. Sorry. Okay.
So yeah, I think I went to jail
Yeah.
like
Middle of 15.
December, January area.
Oh,
I
okay. So right
turned
before. Okay.
16 in rehab. My birthday's in February.
So you turned 16 kind of towards the very beginning of rehab. Because you were in jail for 30 days.
I don't know. I was in rehab. That's all I remember. I remember
Right.
getting clothes. Because that's all I could have there. It sucked. I like video games.
I mean, but nowadays, socks are pretty good.
Yeah, I need clothes. Guys? You guys
Okay,
go fund me on
let's
some clothes?
be. You are not sparse for clothes. You have plenty of clothes. I need clothes. You
I mean,
act like
compared to
you-
you, I don't
I have
any
more
clothes.
shirts, but I only have one drawer. I have the same amount of pants as you, for sure. You probably have more pants.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm in rehab.
You get clothes for your birthday.
Get clothes for my birthday. And It was just good. Like, obviously, I didn't want to be there, but
Boo.
I got to help people, which
Oh,
I
yeah.
love doing that. And I was one of the kids who was not losing their shit. So the staff liked me. I was still working on my book, making all the staff read it. What do you think? Is it good? Probably sucked. But I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It was definitely crazy. Some shit happened at 15, I tell you.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Um,
Especially because you're running it at the tail end of 15,
Yeah.
so everything else is already happened.
yeah, 'cause I think the end of that was like, but I'm in rehab now, and I'm gonna do a lot better now.
I'm stepping it
Little
up.
do they know. Um,
Little do they know.
um,
Alright.
So,
You're in rehab, helping people.
yeah. So, there's 3 different units. There's Recovery Lane, which is the unit I was in. There was, Spanish word. I don't know. There was that unit. And then there was the Spartans. Okay. They were units. So there was
what were the
13 kids in here. There was like 20 kids in here. There was like 20 kids in here.
What were the Spartans?
Huh?
What were the Spartans? Why was yours Recovery Lane in there?
Well,
They're
it
the
was just
Spartans.
they didn't have room for everyone in the same area. There was just like their team name.
What? But you guys, how are you guys Recovery Lane?
I don't know, man. So I was in Recovery Lane, which was the smallest unit, but everyone wanted me.
Sounds like Spartans are like the jocks, and then you guys are just like the druggies.
I liked Recovery Lane because it was smaller,
Right.
but there were some kids in there that were kind of fucking. I didn't like.
Druggies?
No, everyone there was pretty much druggy, but they were like gangstery. They had some attitude situations. going
But
on.
Spartans were like jocks. That's what it seems like.
No, but Spartans had a good mix of everything.
Hey, little-
L Spanish word was hell. You don't want to go there.
Michael, why?
There was just a lot. That was just the
Was it-
chaos.
I'm curious, and I don't. Was it a Spanish word because they put like Spanish speaking people all together,
I mean,
so
here's
that
the
they
thing.
didn't have to like have Spanish speakers
no,
and like,
that's not why.
or was there like a mix
There
of
was
people in
there
there?
was mix.
So it wasn't just.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
I
just
would
wanted
say
it-
out of in the rehab, in the jail, in school.
They were the worst.
No, if we're talking about race, majority of kids that I went to school with and that were there in all of those places were Mexican. Like, but no, there were white kids and black kids in there.
Okay, yeah.
It was all,
I just was curious. So
but it was definitely the worst unit.
it's just funny that you guys are Recovery Lane and everyone else is like
L Spanish word.
Spartans. Recovery Lane.
But all the staff liked me because I was like calm and whatever. But they all wanted me to go. They wanted me to transfer to their units because they thought I might.
So you interacted with other units?
At lunch, and sometimes we'd all go outside together. There were times.
Would the staff,
and there were schools
rotate?
too. No,
Oh,
the
okay.
staffs were in their own situation. So, like, I guess I made such an impression during a lunch or a school
Oh,
or whatever. That they were
gotcha.
like, "You should come to our unit. Come on down."
And you're like, nothing.
Well, so I really did like Recovery Lane.
Yeah.
I remember there was a big fat kid, who had like bifocals, and he was in Recovery Lane. He was really nice. And I remember I just wanted to get high. I wanted to feel weird. So I was like, "Hey, can I see those bifocals?"
Oh my god.
So I took the bifocals and I put them on and I looked straight up in the air and I spun around as fast as I could because I wanted to feel weird. I got really dizzy for sure.
You probably could have just spun
I
around.
was a dumb kid. I mean, the bifocals definitely fucked me up as well.
Well, I guess,
But
yeah, you're dizzy and you're
It
fucking
was not
blurry.
Vicodin. It was not pot.
It was not.
Didn't-
So they took you off of Vicodin.
at that point, yeah.
Were you still on syrup? Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
was
had
still,
to.
I was on Seroquel. But so,
Well, I guess that's not like
so
a.
yeah, after dinner I would take Seroquel. And my
Damn, after dinner?
Yeah, I know. So my friend, who's the slow guy, every breakfast you get to choose between yogurt and a Danish. And I would always choose yogurt because I want a yogurt. But he would always pick a Danish. And he would go into the corner of the cafeteria every morning. And he would put the Danish. They had some like chairs or something in the corner that just had like it was like a
Like
closet
stacks.
full of stuff kind of. But he
Yeah.
would always go to that corner and he would place a Danish underneath something over there. And then at dinner time, he would go get it. And then
They never noticed?
No. And then at night, after I took my pill, where I'm fucking starving.
I honestly, when I just said what I just said, I totally forgot about this part.
When I was starving after my pill, I would be, I'm always working on my book. And he's like in the other, there's like rooms, right? So he was in a different room. So I'm talking to my staff. All the staff loves me. And actually at this point, I had switched from Recovery Lane to the Spartans.
So he was in
He
Spartans?
was in Spartans. So I was with him in Spartans now.
Did he
which
transfer
is a bigger
too?
unit. No, he was always.
Oh,
in
he was
Spartans.
always in
That's
Spartans.
probably. I don't even know why I transferred to Spartans, but I was happy about it. I definitely, because there was like a power situation here with the gangster kids. It was small, so like the staff and me got along really well, but some of the kids were kind of sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
But Spartans, I was like sort of a top dog there, like not in an aggressive,
Yeah.
threatening way, but just like
Like a respected.
maybe. Maybe that's
Maybe-
good. That sounds
maybe
good.
it's
We'll
respect.
stick
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that one.
Yeah, that'll
That sounds good. But anyways, the staff always really liked me, and they always knew I was writing. So I'd be like, "Hey, can I go talk to my friend? I want to show him what I wrote in the book." You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Because it's at night, we're supposed to be in our rooms. So I go over to his room, and I give him the book, and he puts the Danish in the book.
How did this start, though? Did
I
he
don't
tell you, like,
know.
come to my room?
Honestly don't know how it started.
Because this sounds like it's like a deal that's been going on.
I don't.
Like, it's happened multiple
Oh,
times.
it did happen a lot.
So
but
it
I
had
don't
to
know how it
start.
started. It happened like every night.
Did you ever ask?
I
Or did he just do
I
it?
think he.
And he was
I
like,
think
"Hey,
it was
come to
more
my room
him just
later."
doing it. He knew I would get really hungry
Oh, my
because I would
that's
tell
so
him,
nice. And this is the slow guy.
this is the really slow guy.
Oh, God.
But yeah, he would put the Danish in my notebook thing, and he would hand it back to me. Like, all right, pretty good. And I'd walk back to my room, and I'd eat my Danish, and no one knew because you weren't allowed to have food in the rooms or whatever.
Did you have a bunkmate, or was it
So
everyone had their
I
own
had a
separate?
roommate, and I didn't like that kid at that time.
And he never saw
His
you
name was
eating?
Cord. My roommate
Weird.
at the time. The motorcycle kid was Eric Mineralt.
Michael.
No one's gonna. There's a million. I've looked for him a million times. Good luck finding him.
But
If you find him, that's a good thing.
so he never. But your bunkmate never saw you eating or heard you eating, or just didn't care.
I was alpha for sure in that situation. So fuck he can go fuck himself if he saw me.
As if they would believe him.
Yeah. I was liked by the staff and respected by my peers. So.
Good luck, Cord.
Yeah, good luck, Cord. So me and Cord didn't. It's good we're talking about Cord because Cord's the next part of this fucking story.
Oh,
Cord.
I don't know if you should
No, I'm
mention a name
definitely
then.
mentioning Cord.
The name, I mean.
I don't know his last name, and I've probably tried to look for him before, and I can't find him. So good luck finding him. He kills me. He finally I finally found you. Yeah. So Cord. Me and him we didn't get along. He would argue that Linkin Park is metal. I would tell him it's pop rock. It was a thing. But anyways, towards the end of rehab, you get to go on passes, like to go home to see how you're gonna do. Like there's like a 4-hour pass and a 6-hour pass, an overnight pass. Like every week it gets further and further. And there's like a weekend pass, and after the weekend pass, you get to go home. And quick story before I wrap this up is I actually got to the last pass, and when I came back, they drug test you every time. I actually didn't pass my drug test, but I know that I didn't do anything. Everyone now knows that I definitely didn't do anything. I always knew that I never did anything. He came back like for a benzodiazepine or something. I had no idea what the fuck. But I failed my drug test, so I had to start my passes over. I had to stay an extra month because they fucked up my drug test.
Now,
I cried. I was
to add to that,
pissed.
yeah. Didn't you? I think you said before that they were drug testing another kid at the exact
Yeah,
same
they were.
time, and you think it that because he came back negative, didn't he?
Probably. I don't know, but they definitely got switched because I never did anything. Like
Yeah.
today, me talking about all the things I've talked about, obviously I would fucking like
You would
no
admit to it,
problem.
yeah.
Like, oh, I lied about that one. No. So I was pissed. Like I was ready to go home after like 5 months of being locked up,
Mm-hmm.
and then to be told, nope, you did something you actually didn't do, and you're gonna stay for another month. It was. I mean, if anything, it was sort of a good lesson in life, maybe. Like even if you do everything right, sometimes you're still gonna get fucked. And I definitely
Sorry.
did.
Mm-hmm. I was looking up what Vento. Because I knew I'd heard the term. It's like Valium and Xanax.
I've never done that shit. So I've to start my passes over. I'm getting close again. And on one of my passes, Cord is he crushes. Someone tells me that he crushed cockroaches into my clothes. So I look into my laundry, and there they are. There's cockroaches in my clothes. So we have the same shower in our room. You know, obviously we're not showering at the same time. It's a private shower, not like in jail.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. But so I'm in the shower, and I see his shampoo in there. And so I do something. And
Let's just
okay,
you have a little
I
fun.
masturbate into his shampoo, and he wears it for the rest of the time I'm there. And I tell my therapist what happened. I can't keep a secret. I don't know.
Yeah, you're bad.
I'm bad at keeping secrets. Cause you know, this is a risky move. I could get in trouble.
Oh yeah.
But she laughs, and you know, the next visit we have, she mentions that his mom like mentioned, because he had the same therapist as me, mentioned that his hair looked nice. His mom mentioned that his hair looked nice, and she said she had to stop herself from laughing in that. So anyways, we're at the last day of me being in rehab, and I had the staff named Sean, who was in recovery lane with me, and I think he switched Spartans not exactly at the same time as I did, but I had a pretty strong relationship with the staff member.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm about to leave, go home, and for good,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm laughing, and he's like, "Why are you laughing?" And I'm like, "I can't tell you." He's like, "You can tell me." I'm like, "I really can't know." I tell him, and he just starts laughing. Everyone hated that kid.
That's still pretty shit.
I mean,
That's two adults that
yeah.
did
I
not.
mean,
get
obviously it was a bad.
I'm just saying.
Bad kid. I mean, I was. What was it? Respected by my peers, something like that.
What was the word respected? Is that what it?
So I get out of rehab.
You act like that's a cigar. That is so rolly.
So I get out of rehab, and I'm clean for a year. Spoiler, I guess, with that sentence. I have a choice between going back to school and getting a job, and I always forget to mention that before I got locked up, I had a girlfriend at the public school, and she really liked me.
How long were you together before you went to?
No, but I had a girlfriend. I asked her. She said yeah, and she was supposed to wait for me. So when I got out, I was excited to see her. You know, and
But you were on house arrest when you asked her.
yeah, probably. Or maybe, I don't know. I was a good boyfriend.
Going to she have in jail.
Yeah, so I come back,
Will you
and
wait
she's
for me?
making out with another dude. So I'm like, fuck that. Because she said she would
Wow.
wait for me.
She told the guy who was going to jail in rehab
She'll
would wait for him.
And she did not.
And she did not. That 16-year-old little bitch.
That fucking bitch. She actually married a cop later in life. So.
Wow, crazy. How things turn. I don't know. She told a little juvie little shithead that she went from. Now she's like,
So I didn't like that,
of course.
and I also don't like school. So I got a job instead. Got a job at Sonic, and everyone there smoked weed, but I wasn't allowed to. So, I eventually did smoke weed with those coworkers, and it was really fun.
What do you mean you weren't allowed to? Were you on
I was on
probation?
probation for a year.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
So then how long did you work at your first job?
I think like 4 months, and then I quit. My probationer was like, "Get another job," and eventually I did. At Goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Goodwill for like 2 years, and I mean, okay, so when I started there, I had a boss, right? All my bosses were girls. Anyways, but I had a boss. She was like 27. I was 17. No name dropping on this one, but
Oh, I wonder why.
she I just randomly asked her if she wanted to go mini golfing with me, and she was like, "Sure, what?" I'm like, so I was the
Instigator?
the predator.
No, you were not a predator. She agreed. She gave consent to do that. And it was wrong.
Well,
Let's make this clear. It was wrong.
it's fine.
27 and 17, it's wrong.
The other way around, maybe. But I, being an alpha
She
male.
was 27, you were 17.
Anyways, so we go play mini golf,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I asked her. I don't think we were ever boyfriend girlfriend. We were friends
You were
with
just
benefits.
yeah.
But I asked her if she wanted to do something like that, and
Did she hesitate? Or did she?
yeah, she was like, I could get in trouble, whatever. We should
What-
we should not
not
be doing
just at
this,
work.
huh?
Not just at
Yeah,
work.
we should not be doing this. And I was very convincing that we should be doing this, and it worked out. I ended up sleeping with my boss for a while, and being the king at work.
And you, oh yeah, you were
Definitely felt really awesome.
17.
And
Did anyone else know?
I don't think so.
I would.
I think there was one dude who knew, but like he knew.
So now there's another person covering.
I mean, he was probably like, "Hell yeah, dude," or something. It was like
That's wrong. It's wrong.
whatever. I still think it was fine.
It's
it was
wrong.
me.
It's
Just
wrong.
like the teacher, I got to spend the night at his house. That was whatever. No one else should do these things. It was fine for me. What's that saying? All something for me, but not for thee, or whatever. I don't know. It's not a good person saying.
It's not a good thing,
No.
but it's a thing.
All
right.
So
All right. So you're sleeping with your
fucking
boss.
my boss, and
Michael.
it's okay. Sorry, I was trying to be cool.
No.
So I was having
with-
relations
yeah.
with my boss,
friends with benefits and
and eventually she leaves, and it's kind of sad. I think she moves, or we definitely have a break, friends with benefits breakup.
breakup. Yeah. How long?
Probably like 6 months. I don't really know. But eventually, another girl starts working there, and she's pretty, and so I guess I have to talk to her, right? So I'm like, hey, you want to go to the movies or something? And she's like, sure, yeah. So we go to the movies, and then eventually that turns into dating, and we're now boyfriend and girlfriend, and
Maybe we should refer to this person as M.
Yeah, that sounds like a letter.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Anyways, so
You and M are together.
me and M are together, and there are some days where I'm not even working, but she's working, and I'll show up and I'll work for free to help her so she can leave early, and
Mm-hmm.
I get to just hang out with her. So my boss was very aware that
You guys
we
were.
were dating.
Yeah.
There was the store manager, he didn't know. but every other manager knew. Like everyone else knew, except for the store manager,
Right.
because I would maybe get fired.
But like the little
No,
manager.
they knew and they didn't care. I was helping them. Like they got to leave.
I mean, I
earlier.
don't think it would be wrong to date.
It was against the rules.
to date a
Yeah,
coworker.
it was definitely. You weren't allowed to do that.
Weird. Because nowadays you can, as long as you don't date like your immediate boss.
No, maybe now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's happening, but there's like something weird is happening because she has like court dates and dentist appointments at like 6 o'clock at night. And sometimes I'm not allowed to call her or whatever, and she's very secretive with her phone. And some of the people that work there are like, hey, some dude keeps showing up, and I get mad at them. I don't want to believe it.
Okay.
But eventually we have a pregnancy scare, and we take the pregnancy. There's like a restaurant in the same parking lot, so we go to the restaurant. We have lunch or something. We take the pregnancy test there, like she goes into the bathroom, but we find out there, and then we go back to work, and we have to start our shift or something. And but
You find out that it's negative.
it's positive.
Oh, it's positive.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
So she leaves her phone in the break room, and I've never seen her phone. I'm not allowed to see her phone. But at this point, I'm like, I need to.
Right. You've just heard
I
all
need
these
to
things.
know.
Yeah.
So I look at her phone, and there's this contact called My Baby, and it's not me. And she's texting him like, "What are we gonna do? I'm pregnant." And so I call him immediately, and I'm like,
Right. From her phone.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Who the fuck is this?" And he's like, "I'm her boyfriend." "Who the fuck is this?" I'm like, I'm her boyfriend. I was actually her fiance at the time. Anyways, so I hang up on him and I go to her and I'm like, "How could you do this? I thought you loved me." But we're both cashiers.
So wait, you had asked her to marry,
Yeah,
and
She
you
said
were
yeah.
like what, 18?
something like that.
18-ish, yeah.
Yeah, and so we're both cashiers, so one of us has to go up and start ringing people up, and I tell her, because like I think there's announcement like blah 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 to the front, one of us. So I'm like, all right, we'll talk about this later or whatever. And fuck.
Oh my god.
I don't know, I felt something weird.
Maybe it's your beard on your skin.
It could be long beard, big wizard beard. Anyways, so I am like, we're gonna talk about this later, and I'm obviously shaking and devastated. Anyways, I'm on the register ringing people up, and this 6-foot whatever giant buff dude walks in. I'm 5'6", 120 pounds. He walks past me. I've seen him before. I think she said at one point he was a friend or something. So I know who this guy is.
Oh wow.
And so he walks up to her, which I can see both of them, and she starts crying, and she points to me, and he walks by me, and he comes up to me, and he's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." And then,
People are never mad at the right person.
and then he walks outside. So
Definitely don't get mad at the girl dating two guys.
yeah, I mean, she probably lied. I mean,
No,
eventually
I'm
she
sure,
did
yeah.
actually make like.
I'm
She
sure.
probably said, "I don't know what the fuck he's talking about." Anyway, so she goes into the break room crying. I look at my boss, who knows everything and who's kind of close to me. Before I forget, she later called me drunkenly, apologizing for everything that ended up happening, which she should. Anyway, so and I forgive her because I fucking forgive everybody. Anyway, so my fiance. I'm stuck at the register. So my fiance goes in the break room, cries for like a half an hour, and then walks past me, goes outside, gets in the car with the big dude, and drives away. Doesn't say a word to me.
So she just dips out on work. She just leaves.
Yeah, and an hour ago, this was my pregnant fiance,
Right.
who I just had lunch with and found out that we're pregnant
yeah.
together. Walk right past me, big dude drives away. So I look at my boss, who knows everything. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, my heart, I have to go. And she's like, just do whatever you got to do, or do it. So I leave. The next day, I'm fired, and I'm not allowed to come anywhere near the property. I find out from I think I think I was like, "Do you want to hear my side of the story?" And he was like, "No," and he hung up. But I think I found out later because I tried to get unemployment and they fought me on it. That apparently she said that we were never together and she doesn't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So
And that what you were
so
harassing
the
her or
reason
something?
I get all those checks in the mail trying to collect unemployment,
Oh yeah,
that's why. It was from a lie, and I'm like, I'm never.
because they approved you and then they took it
Yeah.
away, and you owed.
And I'm not gonna. Yeah.
But did she just say you were harassing her or something?
Basically, even though everyone there knew that we were together.
So basically, there was like a hearing without you there.
Yeah. So there was two hearings. One where I don't know, but like I didn't get the letter or something, and they had the damn hearing without me. And then the second hearing, I wasn't allowed to talk. Like I was there, and
It was an unemployment hearing.
yeah, and I listened to my boss lie, saying she didn't know. That's why she called me later, drunkenly. I'm so sorry. She didn't want to lose her job
But
because the fact she knew, she could get in trouble.
wait, why were you? But did they say why you were fired?
I was fired because she.
Said you were
I
harassing her?
guess I was harassing. She
So you just didn't feel safe or something?
she specifically said we were never together and she doesn't know what I'm talking about. And
Yeah,
added
but
added to that, I guess I was harassing her.
Yeah, I was
maybe,
gonna
don't
say
know.
because that wouldn't be enough to you saying that you're together.
Well, there's two
doesn't-
things. The way I looked at it is it was against policy for us to date in the first place. So I definitely was doing something I shouldn't have been doing.
Right,
the
but then
second
she would
thing
have
is-
gotten fired too.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
she didn't. you
Yeah,
know, Me too and all that.
and then they
shit.
lied.
Yeah, girls. Anyways.
No, not all girls.
I
Michael.
know. People.
Yeah, because there's plenty of guys who would lie too.
Anyways, so I end up forgiving M, the girl. And, I don't know if she convinces me or we take a test and I know for sure, but she's no longer pregnant.
Did she miscarriage or was it?
I don't know.
False?
Maybe I just believed her. At this point now, I'm thinking that might be the case, but I really am not sure. Like a
You don't know.
false positive. I don't know. Apparently, at this moment in time, she's no longer pregnant.
Okay.
It's been a month, and she told me she left him. Blah blah blah. But I'm still fired because of her.
Right.
I didn't
right.
know that at this point.
Oh, so you hadn't had the
Yeah.
unemployment hearing yet?
Right. And
Damn.
so I think I pick her up because she has to go to work, the work she got me fired from. And I'm like, oh, well, I'll just take you to work after we hang out or whatever. So we hang out for a while and I find out again
That she's not.
that she's still with that other guy.
Yeah.
And
What the fuck is her problem? Like, there's just no point to go back to you if she's gonna,
so
it's just odd.
we have one last
Hoorah.
hurrah, and
I was gonna say something really.
there was a lot of hate
Yeah.
in my heart, and I don't really know how she really felt, but I know that this is the most evil, lying, manipulative person I've ever met in my life. And I hate her. She's pretty, so we're doing something, but there's definitely no love. Anyways,
So it wasn't a good last start.
it was not a good last. I mean,
Depends
on what you-
yeah.
and there was a moment where I just decided to, I don't know. Should this be hard for me to say?
No, but I don't think you need to give details. I mean, other
But I
than
would
you
li- I would
decide
like-
not to prevent a pregnancy.
Yeah.
You decide to not actively prevent a pregnancy.
I played baby roulette on purpose.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't care.
But I mean, she didn't stop it either. So.
She didn't know.
Well,
I mean, she didn't know that I was purposefully not.
no.
trying
But
to
she didn't
prevent
say
pregnancy.
she didn't actively try to prevent it either.
You can defend her. Me
I'm
if
saying-
you want. You probably should.
No, I'm saying both sides.
I feel like I should just say it since we were talking about it too much. Basically, I mean, I didn't.
You don't. People understand what we're saying. I think people understand what we're saying. You don't have to delve into more detail.
Okay.
We understand what baby
Moving
roulette is.
So after that, I never talked to her again.
Yeah.
And I'm sad.
Now you're probably like 19.
Maybe.
I think you are.
18, 19 area.
Well, no, because your birthday. You had your 19th birthday with M. At
I'm
the
around
restaurant.
there.
Yeah.
Not that important.
Well, I like to.
So about 4 months goes by, maybe, and I'm sad. You know, like 2 holes in the walls. You know,
Mm-hmm.
not 50. I'm
Right.
starting to get used to things
Mm-hmm.
not going my way. So I ended up talking or getting in touch with a girl from my past.
Mhm. From like the art school.
No, she was friends
Oh.
with C.
Oh, right.
So it was like very early on.
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of just reconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her
Everything.
everything that happened to me. And that I was not, I wasn't angry anymore maybe, but I was definitely sad.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I totally skipped over the fact that when I was at Goodwill, I started smoking again, but then quit again.
Oh.
I've been clean for 11 years. Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah, he's been clean since 18.
Yeah.
But now we're getting up to the time where you would have been stopping Seroquel as well.
Kind of. I mean, not.
We're getting
not yet.
close.
So yeah, at this point, I'm still on Seroquel. I know this is like breaking the wall, fifth wall or whatever, but are the audio levels good?
No one's talking
Oh,
right
well,
now.
no, I know, but you're constantly looking over there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering.
I look just to be sure.
So yeah, I rekindle with this girl, and we're together for 4 months, and it's the first time where it's like there's not really fights, and there's no worrying, and there's no on and off. It's just like 4 months of like a good relationship where we're hanging out all the time, and we want to, and like it's just good. But she randomly blocks me on Facebook and my number, and texts my mom saying that it's over between me and her.
Just randomly.
I do not know the reason, so she never.
Right. No,
specifically
I just
gave me
mean
one. Maybe
like earlier that day you guys were fine, or like the day before you guys were fine, and then.
I mean, yeah, I don't know the reason, and she never gave me one. There
Yeah.
could be a reason that exists. I just don't know what it is.
Jeez.
So she lives really far away, and I don't have a car. So I decide I'm gonna bus to her house, which is gonna take me like 3 hours. And I don't think I slept that night, but it's like 4 in the morning, or 4 or 5. I'm trying to time the buses.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm walking, and it's like that, what I described earlier. We're walking in the middle of the night, no one's
Just
out.
quiet,
It's just
yeah.
nice and peaceful. It's a little cloudy. And I get to the first bus stop, and I miss the bus. So I smoke a cigarette. And right as the bus comes, a feather falls right in front of me, and the moon appears out of the clouds. And I feel like it's a good sign, like I'm gonna get her back. At the second stop, same thing happens. I have to cross the street, but I miss the second bus, and right as the bus comes, another moon, like
Another
well,
moon.
the
I
moon
know.
appears out of the clouds at that specific moment, and another feather falls right in front of me, and I'm like, "That's a good sign. Gonna get her back." I get to her house, and the only thing she says is, "You need to leave." Over and over again. I'm like, "How could you do this? So you love me? What happened?" But you need to leave was all she said. So eventually, I think this was like 5 minutes of me like asking what happened, and just, "You need to leave."
Oh, weird.
So I do. Back to the bus stop, and I'm crying, and it's the end of the world again. And people are looking at me, bawling my eyes out, and people are like, it's a little awkward.
Right.
And I missed the bus. And then another moon, same moon, appears out of the clouds.
Yeah.
And a feather falls right in front of me, and the bus comes right at that second.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time in my life where, something awful just happened,
And you were
but
okay.
I felt okay. Like I could get through it. And it was knowing that feeling, like I had like sort of a adrenaline filled goosebumpy feeling throughout my whole body, like everything was just clear and good. And so I take a different route home, one that led me to my old school, the art school, where the first place I got friends. Little did I know, the next human that would
Enter your life.
destroy me
Oh, well, that too.
happened to be there that day.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know that for years later.
Question: whereabouts are you living? Just for my brain, I always have a hard time keeping track of where you're at in the world. Are you living on?
At this point, I'm probably across
Are
the
you-
street from where my grandma lives right now.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Apartment complex.
So still on Hardy, just
Yeah. So I get in touch with my sister, who I've never met before, like my dad's side of the family.
Oh yeah, you never you never mention your dad in your
Yeah.
story ever.
Yeah, my mom raised me by herself,
Yeah.
besides extra family members coming in and out. But I met my dad once when I was 10, but it was like for a day.
Yeah,
And-
your mom always tries to tell how your dad was around, I think, like a little bit when you were a kid, and he said he wanted to be in his life, but then he never came back. Or maybe that happened when you were 10. At some point, he told your mom, I want to be in his life. And
That
then
was
he just
probably then. He just never
dipped.
came back.
He just dipped.
So I hadn't even thought of or heard of my dad in like since I was 10. I'm
Yeah.
like,
And at this point,
like
your dad's
19 or
in
something now.
Tennessee.
Yeah, so I get in touch with my sister, who I've never met. I have a whole nother family that I didn't even know about. I have two sisters. I got some nieces, and
Yes.
probably.
And how
more.
old are they?
I think.
Like, are they a lot older than
Yeah, so not old.
you?
Well, they're older than me.
Yeah.
I think they were in their 30s. I was 30s or
Like
high
20.
20s, and I'm
And-
like,
okay.
19 or something.
For like 10 years.
Anyway,
Sure.
so the plan is I'm gonna go fly to Tennessee to see the family I never knew. But I'm afraid to fly, so my grandma gives me a ring to make me feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And the ring is a feather, and my grandma had no idea about the feathers. I've worn it ever since. It's like my symbol of hope because of that feeling that I had. So I go see my dad, and it's very green there. I live in Arizona, in the desert. I loved it there. It was really pretty. I get to meet my family, and they're nice, and I haven't really talked to them in a while.
How was your dad? You never really talked about how your dad,
So
like, did you
I
guys
mean,
talk about anything?
my sisters were really nice,
Hmm.
and I stayed with my. So I have a older sister and then an older. So like a
Yeah, yeah.
oldest sister and then one older than me. So I would be the youngest in that. Maybe
In
there's
that
another
line.
kid somewhere. I don't know, but
Weird. So
um,
that's so weird. I don't know why. I've never thought about like divided like, you know what I mean? So like cuz you're the youngest in one set, but you're the middle in another set. So it's really odd to think, you know.
yeah. So my sisters were really nice, and I stayed with my middle sister
Mhm.
on that side. Um, but my dad, I mean, he was fine. It was hard to understand him. He's got a really thick accent. Um, I think we went out to eat and had a hamburger.
Did you guys talk about anything or just nothing?
You know, it's been so long.
You
I
just
don't.
don't know.
There was not. See, I remember a lot of things,
Right.
especially if they're.
It's significant.
But it was probably just random, like chatter.
Just
You know,
small talk.
how's your day, man?
I mean, I just can't imagine. I just feel like, and I would feel awkward in that if I would, like, meeting my dad for the first time in 10 years and for the second time in my life. Well, second time that you remember in your life. I just,
I mean, I liked it there. I
Yeah.
definitely liked my sisters way more than It's not. It's not that I don't like my dad. I just don't
know.
have a relationship. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. So I go back
Mhm.
and I start hanging out with friends,
Mhm.
like old friends that lead me to even older friends that lead me to a party where I met A.
Hey,
And
people will never figure them out.
never. I mean, if you don't know me, but if
Right,
you do,
right,
you
right.
might maybe figure it out.
Maybe.
So I meet A at a party. And I remember we sat on like a swing set together. And we just got along. I don't know. I remember, either getting her number or her Facebook or something, but texting her later on that night. And, maybe we should meet up again or hang out sometime. And we met up a few times, and eventually when it was inevitable, there was this, because at this point I'm 20 and she's 17. And, at this age, when you're 17, 18, 19, 20, that age of transition between adult and whatever, and, it's a really gray area. Like, in those specific 4 ages, like let's say you're 17 dating a 16-year-old, and she turns 17, but you turn 18. Now you got to break up. But you know what I mean? I think that's
Well, there are laws
right. So,
of like 2 years difference.
well, I was 3. Sorry, Mom.
I think you should sorry. Law.
Sorry, Law. But so it was we didn't really know if we were allowed to. She didn't think her dad would be very happy about it, and he definitely
Wonder why.
wasn't.
Shocker.
But I remember talking to her. We were at a party.
A lot of parties.
Yeah. And it seemed impossible. Like, it was clear that we liked each other, but there was this barrier of like, she can't because her dad.
Mhm.
And I just remember thinking, this is like, it sucks, that it's not going to happen. And it feels like it definitely should. But my experience with loss and defeat and whatever, a part of me knew that this was an impossible situation and it was not going to happen. Like, as I'm trying to get her to be my girlfriend, I know it's a lost cause.
Mhm.
But then there was a moment where, I don't know, maybe she tilts her head or something, and I see the moon behind her, and then I even told her, like, I know now, I know that we're going to be together. And we did. I think that night, what started out as an impossible whatever, because she was like, oh, my dad, whatever, turned out to be, I don't know. Moon gives me some, So, we start dating, and, we're immediately banned from talking to each other as soon as her dad finds out. And I think a month goes by.
How? I'm sorry. How did he not realize when you guys were just talking, but now he all of a sudden finds out when you're dating?
So she was at a party with her friends, this is an art school party from that art school. So my friends and her friends are sort of connected, and they all
are friends.
Yeah. So
lots of friends.
I met her because I was friends with people she was friends with.
Yeah. Right.
So if there's a party, she's probably gonna be there, and I'm probably gonna be there too. It was a little different from, oh, I'm gonna go to my friend's party house to, I'm gonna date this boy.
Yeah.
So we were banned from seeing each other.
Okay.
Until I wrote him a letter. And I basically just said something along the lines of, like, our friends are weird. There's a lot of drugs going on or whatever. Not terribly, like, calling out my friends, but these things are bound to occur. And just the amount that I care for her, and the fact that I'm already better to have someone like me there in those situations. Like, wouldn't it be nice to know that someone I don't know, the way I worded it,
someone more responsible and not a drug.
And I was clean at that point of everything, and I also had really strong feelings, and I was trying to explain this, like, that sounds awesome to me, like, if I had some, knowing my daughter would be okay or good or whatever. And I just told him how I felt, and after that we were allowed to see each other, but only in front of him. On the weekend he did DJ karaoke. I wasn't allowed to sit next to her. I had to sit across from her, couldn't hold hands. If I went out to smoke, she couldn't go out there with me.
Pretty strict date.
Yeah. But whatever. Sometimes I would see her after school, like for a second before he got there. But it was really hard to see her. Eventually we were allowed to go to movies and stuff, and eventually even more we were allowed to, like, actually hang out. But it was definitely a Romeo and Juliet thing. It was hard to see each other, and I think that made us stronger. Obviously not strong enough. Anyway, so we're getting pretty close to her turning 18, and I know she wants to, like, live with me, or just, spend as much time. She wants to be able to hang out with me without asking permission, and maybe even being told no, and that has been the way it's been. So, we come up with a plan where, after she turns 18, she's gonna spend the night at my house. And, when she calls her dad, she's already at my house at this point, and has now turned 18, but when she calls her dad to say, hey, I'm just gonna stay over tonight, he doesn't like that. But there's a transition that has occurred that maybe he just, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't really want to. He's not happy, so he comes over, and tries to get her to come home with him, and I think the quote is, so if I want to be happy, you're not going to love me or whatever, or something like that. And he said, obviously you don't know me. He drives away. So that was really sad. But I'm happy as hell. Like, that was sad for her, and I feel bad for her. But, like, the amount of pressure it was to have to contend with that, and the control and the whatever, and obviously maybe that was supposed to happen during that time, but now we're just free together, and it was good. Anyway, so she lives with me, and okay. So here's the deal. This next part is really, really hard for me to say. It's not hard for me to say, it's hard for me to know that this is public. But obviously, I also know that I'm only going to get 2 views, so I don't really think it's going to matter. We good?
I think so.
Something going on?
The sound was just being a little weird.
Alright, so she's living with me.
Mm-hmm.
And something happens, and she gets pregnant.
Something happened.
And we talk about it. And, long story short, we don't keep the baby. And when it happens, I felt death throughout my whole body. It was like the opposite of butterflies. It was a dark chill, like I had done something wrong. And, in the grand scheme of things, maybe I did. And I think after that we sort of drifted apart. And as much as I say that now, we drifted apart, obviously emotionally and in my heart of hearts, we did not drift apart. But she left back to her family, and there were no more holes or drugs or whatever. At this point, I had already quit Seroquel, so I was not medicated, nothing. I've smoked cigarettes since I was 15, but that's it. And it's as close to a C situation, the first, as it's ever been, but I'm not reacting, I think I just died. A part of me, I always had a lot of feelings. It's like strong feelings. Like I was very vulnerable. But I don't know. Anyway, so at this point, I've sort of drifted apart from friends and socialness.
Mm-hmm.
But I start going online to find girls, and I'm definitely trying to I almost said fill the hole again. I'm definitely trying to fill my hole.
You?
My hole. my
I don't.
heart's hole.
Mm,
Trying to fill my heart's hole.
but you're also looking for fun.
For what?
For fun,
I do not do that. No.
Michael.
No. I do not do that.
You know damn well there were some that were not going
Everything
anywhere.
was an attempt. But anyways, so I start going online to try to find a girl to fill my hole. And you know, this is sort of an important topic that I've tried to talk about before, with loneliness and the internet and online dating, because on one side you have a man who, you know, is trying to get a girlfriend or some action or whatever he's trying to get, and you know, it takes so much, and I know it takes so much energy to find one person to talk to you. And they might not even, they could be a guy, or they could be catfishing, or they could be whatever. But even that is hard to do. But if you're a girl, you're going to get 100 messages a day. So there's this extreme unbalance of, like, girls get a crazy amount of attention and guys get nothing. And for argument's sake, I know what nothing feels like. I also know what shitty things feel like. Nothing is worse. There's a reason, like, you know, when you go to jail and you're isolated for solitary confinement, that's sort of like torture, because that's true. Nothing is worse than something bad. I'm sorry.
But here's the thing: is if you were still able to find quite a few girls.
No, eventually. But like, let's a situation where there's absolutely nothing and you're sad, versus a situation where there's a lot and there's also a lot of bullshit, but at least you have options. Your mind is working. Anyways. So, to get a girl, you gotta filter through a lot of other dudes, catfishers, girls that like, oh, you didn't write me the coolest sentence ever, so, or girls that leave you in red, or girls that talk to you for like 2 sentences and then don't talk to you. Like, there's just a lot of bullshit you gotta go through. Like, out of every 500 attempts, maybe you'll get one message. And out of those one messages, like, 9 times out of 10, again, it's probably a dude or someone catfishing. So maybe 3,000 messages or 3,000 attempts to find someone, then you're going to find someone. Like, for a guy. Girl, you can have anybody she wants at any time. That doesn't mean they're good. But it's a lot easier to filter through something rather than nothing. But anyways, so I, you know, developed this trick of I just don't even look anymore, because I'm just getting catfished and there's dudes. So I keep swiping right and I'm not looking until I run out of matches. And I do this, like, you know, whenever I'm watching TV or something. I don't know. But, you know, I figured I'm gonna get, if I do it that way, maybe I'll get like 5 messages in like 3 days of doing that. And out of those 5 messages, maybe one of those messages will be a girl. Yeah. So that was really the only way to do it. And the other people I could just ignore, which is sort of like my argument for a girl to do. They could just ignore all of them, and, you know, there's a block button. Anyways, obviously people lie and men are very dangerous. Anyways, so long story short, in the girl chasing, trying to fill my whole department, I think I had been with like 8 girls, and that went to 30 real quick, like within a 2-year period. I was really trying, and every girl that I like ended up talking to or meeting or hanging out with, whatever you want to call it, I was trying to create.
Not-
Well, I mean, at the beginning, yes. At the beginning of talking to them and meeting them for the first time, my intent was always, I'm trying to start something real. Of course, did I realize some of those things weren't going to happen, and, I ended up actually getting catfished, but, feeling bad for them, whatever. But 99.9% of the time, I was always trying to create a relationship because, growing up, love is all that ever mattered to me. Like, the Disney hero and, princess and true love and all that. Like, I didn't care about school or money or anything. And I figured, when I die, the only thing I'm going to care about or remember or matter will be my relationships with people, and love is the ultimate anything. Love is all that matters. So,
Love is all you need.
love's all you need. So, yeah, that's sort of another reason why I didn't really do good in school, is that I just didn't give a shit about it. I only cared about love, trying to find, the right person. Anyway, so there was one girl in particular out of those many girls who I should talk about.
Are you skipping over something?
I don't think so. Remind me, say a word and I'll... that always happens every time. That's pretty fucked up.
That's pretty fucked
Pretty
up.
fucked up.
Well, you're thinking of heartbreak.
I'm gonna finish this section and then... Yeah,
And then you'll double back.
Double back.
Okay, so this is all happening. Let's just that everything happened and then you guys just...
This is getting confusing. I'm just gonna keep telling the story.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to keep timeline. You were with A for like a year and a half. So
Yes.
this is all happening like 22, 24. The feeling that
Something.
you trying to feel your heart.
Maybe.
I'm just trying to keep a timeline.
Something like that.
Okay.
So I'm still trying to get over the girl.
Yes.
With a bunch of
Right.
girls. And one of those girls is, well, she's crazy. She breaks up with me, like, every day. She's bipolar. These are, she told me she's bipolar. This is me just... She breaks up with me every day, and then in the morning, oh, I'm so sorry, I love you. And I forgive her every time. We fight a lot, and I always told her the same thing, because, I got so used to her losing her shit on me that I was like, all you gotta do is smile. Like, after, you're fighting with me, whatever, the moment you're out of your mood or whatever it is that you're in, all you gotta do is smile. And I'll know that you're good, and we're good, and I'll forgive you instantly. But, so just because it's a funny story, it's not emotionally relevant, but and if you're sensitive, plug your ears for the next 3 minutes. I don't know. This is about to get really vulgar, but it's just a funny story to me, and I want to tell it. And I'm telling it because I want to tell it. If you're sensitive to vulgarness,
I'm sensitive to this. I don't like this story.
I have to tell the story.
You don't have to. It's not relevant enough.
Okay, you're right. It's not. If
You can tell a quick
if you're
version.
interested in a really fucked up story, message me.
I think you told it on the other
Moving on. I
podcast.
probably did, but it's not. I didn't tell it on this one.
No, just tell a quick story.
No. Well, it's an Easter egg, alright? If you want to know what the fucked up story is, you message me.
God. Yeah, it's not.
It's
I don't know why. It seems the most. I just.
Anyway, so crazy girl.
No, maybe you should tell it because it shows how insane she is.
That's not really.
Yes, it does. How can
There's
you?
two
How can
different
you?
stories with her.
But how can you forget?
Are you talking which story?
Her forgetting.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll tell it.
What was the one that fucking you were
How we
gonna
broke
tell?
up. That's pretty crazy too.
That's what you were gonna tell?
No, I was gonna tell.
You were gonna tell
Alright,
her
we can't have
forgetting.
secret conversations while we're doing this. Can't do that.
No, you can tell. If you're gonna tell the really vulgar one, you can tell it.
Alright, I'll just tell both. of
Because
them.
it'll show how crazy she is.
Okay. Okay, so we're doing a thing together, me and her,
Mm-hmm.
in a bed,
You
and something hurts, like me down there.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, and so I look, and there's like a rash or a rubbing of hurts on me. So I feel around inside her. Shit, that sounds bad. And there's something in there, and it's hard. So I'm like, what the fuck? And she's freaking out. And so we go into the bathroom, and I put on gloves.
Okay, you don't need to go into detail.
I thought I should. I mean, that's how I tell
Extreme
the story. It's how I
details.
tell the story. I gave everyone a vulgar warning.
Fine. Okay, real trigger warning now.
Gloves, flashlight. She's sitting on
In
the
it.
toilet. I open and I look and I go in, and something in there looks dead.
Oh.
And I go in to try to pull, but it's not budging. And I'm thinking, is there part of her body that's dead and
Let's just
connected
pull
to
it.
her?
Let's just pull it just in case.
And no, 'cause I'm scared to pull it. And she is the one who's like, just do it. Just pull it. So I pull it out, and I think I just killed my girlfriend, but it was a tampon.
Okay. Hang on. No. Why do you end it so terribly? Let's dive deeper. She forgot a tampon in herself. Like, that's how I feel like that really showcases some level of her crazy. She forgot the tampon. And then had sex. Let's just be blunt. It's just insane. I don't know how anyone can forget.
So
Always breeze over the end.
she was fine, by the way. Anyway, so
Yeah.
we have a fight. Obviously we're fighting all the time because she's crazy. But we have one fight where she's like hitting me, and I'm like blocking.
Oh, I feel like that seems a little confusing. This was not right after.
No, this is not.
This
right
was a
after. This is
completely different
completely
time. Okay, yeah. You just kind of were like, and then we fought.
I'm just only interesting, skipper.
I know. I'm just. But anyway.
So, so she's hitting me, and I take this backpack and I just throw it as hard as I can behind me, because I want to release some rage, but I can't hurt her. So I throw a backpack behind me, and the cops show up, and she immediately comes the fuck down, and I do too. If I wasn't calm, I probably was calm. And they separate us, and they take us, and they interview each of us. And I'm not laughing with the cop, but I'm like, I'm not really gonna tell you anything, And he's like, you can tell me, and I'm like, I don't know if I should. And then I finally was like, all right, if I tell you, can I not press charges? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, she was hitting me, but I don't want you to do anything. And that was it. He walked me back. And then I see her being handcuffed. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought, and apparently they ask you questions. They're like, do you feel like hurting yourself? And she said, yes. So they took her, they took her to a mental hospital, but she's like,
Probably for that.
yeah, being handcuffed, and she's screaming and yelling, not like me. Like, I learned once you're taken away, you gotta become a robot and just do it. Not her. She is losing her shit everywhere. They put her in the car. She's banging on the window.
Well, don't tell a cop you're gonna kill yourself
A lot of things.
if you don't want to be.
Anyway, so I'm near the cop car where she's put in, and the cops walk next to me, and they're taking pictures of my arms with like for bruises, but there are no bruises. But anyway, so at my peripheral, I see another cop pulling in, and one of the cops starts walking in front of me, and then sort of starts circling me.
Mhm.
And once he gets to like my side and he continues on, I know what's about to happen, but I don't know why it's gonna happen. So you're under arrest. Oh, yeah, so sneaky. He puts the handcuffs on me, and I don't resist at all. I do ask probably 3 times, like, why am I being arrested? They don't really give me an answer. And they're a little aggressive. Like, I'm not resisting, but they're like, come on, like, like with my fucking arms, and I'm like, I'm walking with you, man. Like, so they put me in a car and they take me to jail. I found out later that because I threw the backpack behind me, I broke a glass bear, and since I had
I never realized there was a bear.
since I had a history of anger, so someone called the cops on me. Anyway, so
I never realized what you broke.
yeah, so I'm in jail, real jail now, big boy jail.
Not juvie.
And there's a dude in there. He's way bigger than me, and it's pretty scary. And eventually we started talking, and he's sort of in there for a similar reason. I guess his wife was beating the shit out of him, and he pushed her off of him, and now he's in jail. Probably more to that story.
Fucking
but
justice
you never
system.
know.
Yeah, but not justice system.
So, I don't know if you know this by watching this, but I love smoking cigarettes. I'm actually really addicted to them. If I don't have one, I get a bad headache. I start getting dizzy. And it's true then too. I start getting really dizzy, and then it was hard to sleep. It was hard to. It was just I was out of it like a zombie. But I had to like appear in front of the judge in the morning or something, and I was just, my hair was all fucked up, like everything.
And you were there
me,
one night?
Yeah, and everything about me was just screwed up. Like I couldn't even see. Like I was messed up, and they let me go. But they didn't let me go home. They took me to a rehab or a mental hospital because someone mentioned that maybe I might be crazy.
Possibly.
Turns out that's not true. So they take me to a mental hospital, and I'm like walking past a room of like where all the patients are in the same room together.
Right, like a common area.
And there's my girlfriend. She's sitting right there. And I walk past her and give a little wink. I let her know that we're good. Everything's fine. But I would just think like any other people in this situation, maybe I'm gonna kill her,
Yeah, maybe you have rage on sight.
Yeah, they're really stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know how that could ever like.
Yeah. How
you
could
could
you
just
not
see that on
realize?
the news. Cops takes the domestic dispute and brings them right together. And like, anyways, but we'd sit there and talk all day, and I give her our cat's trying to claw through.
Pause. He's tearing out your shoe.
Oh, okay. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. We good?
Shoe. He was clawing it. He was trying to claw your entire shoe under the door.
Apparently, my cat was trying to take my shoe from one side of the door to the other, and the door's closed, so that journey stopped it from happening.
Just tore up the toe of the shoe.
So
Alright,
we
anyways.
sit and we talk all night. Well, not all night, all day.
Yeah.
And I get interviewed by the doctor or whatever, and immediately like, oh, you shouldn't be here. But before I go, I'm like, talking to her about how when I was in jail, just do what you're told and try to, get out of here as soon as possible. And I go visit her,
Wait. Sorry.
What?
Did you visit her in that mental
So
hospital?
she got transferred to like a real mental hospital, and she was
Okay.
there for like a week or two, and I would go visit her there.
Okay. I was
Which
gonna
is
say, did you go
actually,
visit her where they took you
which is actually, I
and
keep remember when we go to Arby's, we go to that curved street right after, not Arby's, Wendy's. We go past Wendy's, and then this road curves.
yeah, yeah.
And I always say, "Oh, that's a mental hospital. That's that mental
Oh,
hospital." Yeah.
gotcha.
Um.
Dang, so we're close.
Yeah. Anyway, so she gets out eventually, and I'm starting to get sick of the fighting every day. So I'm like, um, I don't know. Maybe I'm just pleading with her to not fight me every day. And of course, she does same day, and I'm like, you need to leave or something. There's a point where I'm just fed up, and I figured, she'd be back the next day because every day she's breaking up with me and
Mm-hmm.
taking me back or whatever. But when I tell her you need to leave, she immediately gets on the internet, finds another dude, spends the night with that dude, same night.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and
Good.
yeah. So 2 weeks later, she comes. I haven't heard from her in 2 weeks. And 2 weeks later, she comes to my house to get her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time I'm hearing about, I have a new boyfriend now. So, long story short with that, I basically tell the boyfriend what happened. And me and her slept with each other one last time when she came over.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up telling the guy that happened. He was pissed,
You
but I
got it.
basically told him, I'm not in the relationship. You should be mad at her, not me. So yeah, I think they ended up staying with each other for a while. I don't really know. It's been a while. Anyways, the next girl, which I'll just casually kind of mention, her name, the letter is V. She was pregnant, like, when I started dating
Yeah.
her. So she, like, wasn't showing,
Mm-hmm.
and we dated up to the
Until,
point,
like,
like 2 weeks before.
Her due date.
Right. So I was going to, like, ultrasounds, and, like, I was in it, dude. I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna
Guess
take
I'm
care of a
raising a
fucking
kid, yeah.
baby now. But yeah, I went through the entire pregnancy process of a girl who I did not get pregnant and didn't stay with. So I had that whole experience and no
God.
follow through. So that was weird.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see one of those 3D ultrasounds. Like, I went to all of that shit,
Mm-hmm.
I went to hospitals multiple times because there was, like, close calls or whatever. Like, shit going on. We got to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why we broke up, to be honest. I'm an asshole. Let's just say that.
I thought you said her family didn't.
Well, her family definitely didn't like me.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, also, didn't she leave the same day that you
no clue.
proposed to her?
No clue. Don't remember. So, I think I always skip over this, and it's fucked up to say, but it's always because it's happening during the A story. And the A story, with the loss of what happened at the end of that story, really just pulls me into it, like, all the way.
Yeah.
While I was with A,
Mm-hmm.
M, the girl who cheated on me while I was working at Goodwill, I see a picture on Facebook, and she's holding a baby, and the baby looks like me, and she's Mexican, and so was the guy she was cheating on me with, but he looks like me, and I get to see him, a few times a month, and eventually I ask her if I can see him more than once a month, and she blocks me from everything, and she vanishes. So his name is Eros, and
So if you're hearing this,
I hope that one day I'll find him. I think my irresponsibilityness, my mental whatever. I've never thought that I've been in a good enough position to attempt to fight her. And also, I know that she's not a good person, and you know, with a court situation, me maybe having to bring everything to light that happened, I don't really think I should do that. You know, especially, like, I think he's now old enough to really remember shit now, and I don't want to create
Drama.
I think when he's older, you know, I'll try to find him, and maybe he'll understand, maybe he won't. Anyways,
Are you gonna get more in detail on? Because you were seeing him for a little bit, and then
yeah, I got to see him for a little bit. We had a birthday party for him, but I just didn't get enough time with him.
sorry, there's just details that you asked to see him more.
Yeah, I said that. I said I asked to see him.
Did
more.
you?
Yeah, I said I asked to see him more. I asked to see him more than once a month, and then she blocked me from everything.
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess I blacked out for that.
that's okay.
Okay, but yeah. Anyways,
So I've sort of had a lot of experience with loss and heartbreak and like trying to make things work. I've never actually broken up with a girl before. I've really tried.
I mean, you kind of broke up with Helena.
No, she broke up with
Sorry,
me.
H.
Crazy girl broke up with me.
You said leave.
Well, she left me. I said you should leave.
Well, I know, but
Today.
she probably took that as breakup.
Well, that's not what happened.
Maybe not. I'm
I've-
saying
I-
from her perspective, maybe she thought you broke up
I
with her.
don't really care for a crazy person's perspective.
I'm just saying.
But I've never personally, consciously, with my heart, and
Right.
said it's over.
Knowingly.
Yeah, I've always tried to make things work.
For a serious relationship.
Yeah, love is
I'm sure there were plenty of just random girls you talked to.
love is all that ever mattered to me. And and then I met you.
Just for reference, as far as I'm aware, as far as time frame, because Michael is very forgetful, from what I understand, is you met me a few months after V, and you broke up.
Probably.
Probably.
Makes sense.
Because you were at the house your mom's at
So
now.
I went through a full pregnancy, and then I met you.
Yeah.
Right.
And something happened before. After V, before me.
What?
A.
What?
Something happened before you met me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you said like a week before you met me.
Just say it. What is it?
You were at your sister invited A over to the house you were living.
Right. So the girl who broke my heart for reals the very last
A,
time.
the other one you got pregnant. Yeah. Sorry.
The girl I had to try to get over with all these girls. I don't know when exactly this happened. But my sister invited her over, well, to pick her up from the house that we lived in together. So I got to see the girl that like ripped out my heart that I had been trying to get over for years and years. And she showed up in a princess costume, like she did parties for children or something, dressed as princesses. And so in my mind at the moment, the love of my life showed up at my door as a princess.
Yeah.
And it was that's the last time I ever saw her. Yeah. I had to literally face
Hmm. The final boss.
Yeah, final boss of my heart, I guess. I don't know. So with that being said, I've had a lot of experience with loss, and
Mhm.
once I was a very vulnerable, emotional kid who wore his heart on his sleeve.
Mm.
Now I'm more not not really emotional. I still love. Um,
I would
I
hope
definitely
so.
I definitely expect the worst and hope for the best. Um, it's very hard to get me to feel things, anything.
Wow.
Huh?
I said wow.
Very emo. Um, but so there was like a, I don't know if it's, I don't know what the right word is, a commonality, something that keeps happening. What is the word? Is there a word for that? Repeating between
Uh,
these girls?
a common denominator.
Sure.
That's what I would say.
Maybe none of these girls wanted what I was looking for. Maybe they were, not good for me. Maybe whatever.
Mm.
Um, I don't know what the right word is. They weren't real. Like, I wanted something real and true and good and kind and sweet and not gonna cheat on me and not gonna, someone who actually wanted.
You wanted a healthy relationship.
Maybe that's probably a good way to put it. And I met you. And, I met you on one of those dating sites. Did I not?
No, I mean it's funny because you see it as a dating site. I saw it as a different kind of site.
What'd you see it at? Oh, drug site?
Yeah, that's where I would.
So I'm your drug.
Sure. Michael used it for dating. I used it for marijuana. And randomly was, I mean, obviously there were dudes that flirt with me on there, and usually they were just F boys, and we're just trying to get their, you know, their groove on. And, yeah. Why would you point at yourself and be excited about
I was just talking shit.
yourself?
I don't know.
It's not a good thing to be an F
So I
boy.
met her on a dating website. She thought it was a drug site.
There was a lot of drugs on there. You could scroll down the
I would never
forum.
get drugs.
You
from
could,
any of
because
those
you could
people.
post like
That's sketchy.
statuses like on Facebook, and
Yeah.
half of them, more than half of them, would be like, anyone got that
Yeah.
fire, or anyone looking for
I don't know
fire.
why you would ever go that route to get weed.
Where else am I supposed to get
I
weed?
don't know, man.
It was way too expensive at the dispensaries.
That wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
then?
dispensaries
Oh, it
were.
was? I don't know.
Yeah, medical. It was way too expensive.
So I meet this motherfucker right here.
Wow, thanks.
And she's cute. She's nerdy. She's nice. I remember picking her up and taking her. I didn't pick her up. I never drove a day in my life. My mom.
He showed up with his mom in a little blue Spark. And when, I don't know if anyone knows what Spark is. Imagine a little, like in retrospect, imagine like a normal car is like, oh, I guess. How do I show it? Imagine a normal car. Let's say notice here, butts here is like this. Sparks like that. Like it's a little car.
I just realized I've talked way too much during this episode, just in
It's okay.
general. Well, no, as I kind of had to, but because you know this part of the story, I would like you to tell it up into the me
Sure.
getting sick.
Well, there's not much to tell up until that. There's not much, yeah.
You can go further, and I can backtrack.
Well, we should probably finish up soon because that one's getting pretty.
We'll get there.
I don't know if anyone can hear that. Our cat is scratching at the door. He likes us if we're home.
Who
Anyways,
wouldn't like us?
so he pulls up. I meet him on. Okay, so I won't get into my story because that'll be another app of my life and what was going on. Stuff was going on in my life. Lots of stuff.
What's the time?
Huh?
What's the time at?
I have no idea. Well, I mean, what's it like 11 o'clock right now?
No, I mean like,
I have no idea.
what's the time on that call? Is there no time?
Oh, wait. At 8. So we're at like 3 hours. This is 2 hours. And then we have the clip before. So we're at 2 hours
You
right
can
now.
tell your story. There's no limit.
No. I want to save it for a whole nother. I don't want it to be a whole 4 hour. Anyways, I had a lot of shit going on at the time I met Michael. And the night we first started talking, because it was a bad night, and I had just been told I should try to be a cam girl. Could make money and be independent, I don't know. Buy a cam girl, whatever. Doesn't matter. Another time. Story for another time. Anyways, I look at my phone. It's a rough night. And I just see a message from some guy. And it just says, I think it's just like, hey, how are you? Or whatever. So I was like, alright, I'll buy it. We'll just talk, you know. We started talking, you know, it's... And then Michael's the type of guy who likes to know people are real. So we video chat. And then we video chat for a couple hours. And then shit's happened in my life. We're talking. So days later, after we first start talking, we officially meet. He pulls up with his mom at my apartment complex where I live with a roommate. And we go. And I know on the way to your mom's house, well, to the house you live at, so your mom and stepdad's house, you try to text me to see where I want to get food at, and I don't look at my phone because I'm, in my head, I'm just so nervous because I'm meeting you and your mom, and I'm not good with meeting new people, so like, you are one thing, your mom just left field, so, and all of a sudden, you're like, Journey, you like Panda? Panda Express? And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And as soon as you said that, my brain was like, he probably tried to
I
text
think
me.
I had previous knowledge that you did like Panda Express.
Maybe, but, and as soon as you said that, I was like, he probably tried to text me. So I look at my phone and sure shit, you were like, what do you like for food? So anyways, we stop and get Panda. We're a little awkward because we go into the restaurant together to get the food. So we're a little awkward. We get in the car, we go back. We pull up to this nice house, and I don't want to say I grew up poor, but I didn't grow up in like top-notch houses. This is at a pool. This was
To
something.
be fair, I'm an apartment complex kid.
Yeah.
all
You
the
grew
way.
up sharing like a bedroom or two
That's
with like 3 or 4 people.
My stepdad's parents' house.
Yes.
So
Okay, but yes. But anyways, I pull up and I'm just, it has a pool, and it has a garage. I mean, I had some family that had, you know, nice house, but, you know, whatever. But anyway, so we get there, we're sitting at this dining room table in the middle of this house I've never been to. His mom's out back, probably smoking cigarettes, and we're just eating Panda, I'm 18, Michael's 24, so this is like a few years after like A, and like, so like a lot's happened between A and then H and then V and then now me in a short time frame. Because you would have stopped dating A around like halfway through 21-ish or like 22-ish, and we met when you were 24. I think you had just turned 20. Because you're...
seems right.
Yeah, I think so. But, so I was 18 and you were 24. And I was going to be, to be fair, I was going to be turning 19 then. We met April. Our anniversary is the 28th. your birthday's February, so you'd have just turned, and my birthday's September, so I'd be turning. So it wasn't like super weird. I wasn't like just 18.
Barely 18.
So anyways, we then all of a sudden are just hanging out whenever we can, all the time. I'm still going to school. I still have a lot of shit happening in my life. My lease is about to be up, and I'm like just about to graduate school. My lease is about to be up. I'm wanting to drop out of school. I hate my situation, everything. It's a rough time. And then all of a sudden, Michael's like, why don't you just live with me? We've known each other for a week, maybe two. I'm like, me? I don't know. That seems a little crazy, but I've done crazy shit before. And we brought it up to Mom and Raj, and they were just like, what? And I was just like shitting bricks. I was just like, oh God, this isn't like this. I think we were in the truck too, but they were just like, what? They were just mind blown. They were like, it's because it's, I don't know. It was just, I don't know. But they, and I think there was also hesitation because your mom and V got kind of close, and your mom also got attached to V's baby.
Yeah, they had just gotten out of a pregnant girl living there for her entire pregnancy, and
like just months before. So, but they were like, you're adults. This is our house, but fine.
I don't know how the hell we pulled that off.
I don't know what the fuck, but I think we also played my lease is about to be up. I literally have nowhere to fucking live.
I think it was the right move.
I think so too. But they probably look back and are like, yeah, we did it. But I think we also played up. I literally was going to be home. I literally had nowhere else to go. Lease was literally within like a week or two going to be up. So they agreed. We went and got my stuff. I moved the fuck out.
Yeah, that is good timing.
Oh, yeah. Like, I always tell you, whenever I think about it, like, we started, like, at the, like,
perfect,
almost unbelievable time. Like, could not have been any closer. You know what I mean? To, like, my life falling the fuck apart.
You probably would have went back to Nebraska or something.
I don't know. Anyways, so I move in. We're now living together, barely know each other, in a small bedroom. Well, not small bedroom. It's
It's a big bedroom.
pretty big bedroom. But I have a lot of shit I'm bringing.
Big
Like, I have a
closet.
lot of stuff. And so we're living in a bedroom in a 3-bedroom house with his sister and the other room down the hall, like sharing hallway, and then his mom and stepdad on the other side of the house. And I don't have a job at this time. I'm just graduating my trade school, and I'm currently I had to complete an internship for my school to really complete my schooling. I was looking for an internship. I finally got one. So I started doing my internship, and you were working at 99-cent store at that time. And then, and we are, we're doing good, but we're kind of fighting. Like, we're kind of getting past the honeymoon stage because we're already moved in with each other. So honeymoon phase is kind of over pretty quick. You know what I mean? We had a good honeymoon phase, and then, drama as relationships and immediately living with each other. It's bound to happen. So anyway, but for a while I was lazy. I was sitting around just loving not doing nothing. Just no school, no internship. Yeah, I have to look for one, and you're just working and you keep bringing me home snacks and you're just nice to me and it was nice. I was, getting along with the other roommates of mine that are in the house that I don't know at all. I'm all of a sudden living with a family that I do not know. So I, slowly, getting closer to other people and things are moving quick. But then we get to the rest of Michael's story.
I mean, you can keep telling it if you want. That's up to you. I'll take over.
I can tell you your anxiety.
You wanna try?
Sure.
Alright.
All right. So then we get up to probably our third month together.
It was early, so I don't know.
Me and Michael are kind of fighting. But then all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden. There'd been a few instances at work where he texted me and been like, "I feel weird. I feel dizzy. I think it's the lights. I'm trying to, take as many breaks as they're letting me, so I can smoke and be outside and in the fresh air and not under the beaming bright ass lights that are at 9. And when I tell you, no one's ever been into a 99-cent store, I don't know if they're all like that, but those lights are bright. Like there's other stores that are not that bright. Those are bright. Like it's like an insane asylum. It's bright. Like they are. But anyways, so I get it. But then one day he gets really dizzy, and I think you ask your boss if you can leave work. And she says, just go. And then you find out later after you left, you were fired. Is that right? The work thing, I can't.
That.
Yeah. But, so, because your boss told you to go, so you left. And then they were like, nah, you're fired. And you were like, well, fuck. But anyways, but you came home. I remember there was one time, and I don't remember if it was the final time or not. You came home on your skateboard, and you did not want me to tell your mom. So I was not telling your mom anything. And I think she had, tried to ask me if something was going on with you, or if you were, or something. I don't know. She was suspicious. But you came in through the window. I had to open the window, and you came in through the window. And then at some point, not long after you got home, you were like, fuck it. I'm just going to go out there. You went out there. You always do this to me where you ask me to keep a secret, and then immediately once you're able to tell them, you're like, fuck it. I'm just going to tell them. And then you tell the secret, and then it looks like I'm just trying to keep... Like it was my idea to keep the secret. But anyway, so you tell your mom, whatever. And then you get bad. I don't know. You're dizzy for a while. You're not working. And then a couple months go by, and then you're all of a sudden in bed. You feel terrible. Something is wrong to where it's a trip to get out of bed. You get out of bed and you just feel weird and crazy, and at this point I'm interning, so neither of us are making money, but luckily we're kind of living rent free at this point, but still it sucks. And so pretty kind of close around the time that you start getting really bad and just bedridden, I transition. I finish my internship, I graduate, I get the job, and then all of a sudden I start working. But I'm only working part-time. And so then I get a job at Panda as well. Funny. So now I'm working part-time at 2 places, both on either side of Mesa, really, because one's on fucking Greenfield near Falcon Field, and the other one's on fucking downtown Mesa. But anyways, so I'm now working 2 part-time jobs. Michael's bedridden. I'm still living there, and now I'm paying rent because I'm making money. They're like, all right, you're making money, give us that fucking money. That's not really how that works. To be fair, your mom hated asking me. I remember when she was like, I feel really awkward and weird, and I hate, she's like, but can you start, I think she asked me in the sweetest, most awkward way, and I was like, and I remember being like, yeah, I'm sure, that makes sense. And she was like, okay, I was really anxious about asking. I was like, yeah, totally fine. And your mom's come such a long way since then, thinking of it. I feel like everyone in your family has. Everyone in your immediate family has come a long way since I first met you guys. Need a therapist. Not really, but... But anyway, so you're bedridden. I'm working 2 part-time jobs. You kind of get unbedridden. You're able to ride around a little bit and walk, take small walks. But you're getting off the bedridden. And I want to say during bedridden time, there's some Destiny event that comes out, but I could be wrong. But anyway, so there's some big video game. But eventually you get unbedridden. I think Friday the 13th came out too. But anyways, you're so bedridden that we moved the TV to the end of the bed. You can just lay in bed, but um. So, but anyway, after a little while, you're kind of not bedridden, but you're still a little, but you're still not doing great. It's hard for you to like walk around and like do physical stuff. I get an official job, official full time head audio job at the Mesa Art Center that I'm working at. And I wouldn't normally mention this, but it's kind of, keeping a timeline. So this is beginning of 2017. We met 2016. And so I quit Panda. I'm now doing full time. And eventually we save them enough money. We move out end of 2017. So I've been living with you guys for like a year and a half. And then boom, you saved up enough money. We move. And I remember it was a bitch to find it. Well, not a bitch to find an apartment. We had gone through options. And I want to say the day we found the apartment we moved into, we'd seen like a couple. And I was like, let's just check this one out. And you were like, it looks shitty. There was just a picture and there was just a price. Like there was really not much to the ad. I was like, let's just try it. And we went and the guy was like, yep, $625 for rent. And it's a studio, so it's whatever. But we look at it and we're like, fuck it, let's do it. It's a studio. It's big enough. It's bigger than a bedroom.
Studio went up so much. When we
Oh
were
my
there.
god, yeah. But it started out $625. We were like, fuck yeah. And I want to say utilities were included. Utilities were included. $625 in the middle of Tempe, mind you, college town. So we're like, absolutely, let's fucking go. So we move in October-ish, November-ish. By beginning of December, so you're now pretty able to like ride around. You're not bedridden anymore. So about a year after you were originally bedridden. And by the way, just for timeline sakes too, in your brains, this was also Pokemon Go came out right before Michael was bedridden. So we were out playing Pokemon Go, and then all of a sudden, it was not. But then we were still playing Pokemon Go by the time we moved out. But anyways, so we moved out, middle of Tempe. So we're moving from Mesa to middle of Tempe. Hard. And within like a month, we're like, we really want a pet or something. And so we go to our landlord and we're like, hey, it doesn't really have anything about like pets. Like a pet, we were just wondering about like how much a deposit would be because then, and I want to say it was cheap. I want to say it was like $50, $75 of a deposit, which is compared to like the 100, 150, 200 deposits nowadays. God. So we're like, oh, hell yeah, let's go to the fucking Humane Society. Let's rescue a fucking cat. So, because I think we couldn't have dogs at that time at that place. Eventually they, allowed dogs, but at the time they did not allow dogs. So we went to go get a cat. We walk into the Humane Society, and I think we had kind of like looked beforehand to see if they had any kittens. Like I think we went on their website, and we had seen there was a litter there, and I saw one was Simba, and Michael. For those he didn't mention it. His favorite Disney movie is Lion King. Well, maybe I don't know about it anymore, but like that used to be like the movie that represented Michael. Loved it. So I was like, oh, Simba, let's fucking go. By the time we got down there, Simba was taken. Simba had been adopted. He was still in the cage, but the papers had been signed. He'd been bought. But Simba had a brother. And we looked at him, we were like, okay, let's see, let's take him out. So we grabbed him out. I think I held him first, and he was pretty cuddly. He was nice. He was sweet. He was just laying. He was like, "Oh shit, people!" And then, because Michael likes to, I like to tell it that way because that's how it actually happened. Michael likes to tell like some magical moment happened, and he didn't, and our cat didn't immediately also like me because our cat was also cuddly towards me, but Michael will tell this magical moment where Michael held our cat and he rolled around in his arms like with no one else, And that was the moment we knew that that was our cat. But that's not how it
the
happened.
moment I knew. Like, when I picked him up.
Yeah,
before
it was
you
magical for
picked him
Michael.
up,
No, no, no. I held
he
him
rolled
first.
around, like
I
doing a
held
little
him
spin in my
first.
arms, and I was like, "Yep, that's the
I
cat."
held him first because I was running that appointment. So you can shut your mouth. I held him first. He was cuddly. I handed him to Michael, and Michael immediately fell in love.
Super cuddly with Michael.
Anyways, Michael fell in love as soon as he held our cat. I'll get to names later. So we're like, okay, let's take this cat. But as Michael is holding that cat, I wander off, as I do. I do it in stores, I do whatever. I wander off. I'm just casually glancing around, seeing if anything else catches my eye at the Humane Society and other cats. And I see. And I will stand by how adorable that cat was. Because he looked so, not ratty, but like, just like terrified and tiny and like frail. But like long hair. So I knew he had to be like a long hair, like a real looking. And he looks kind of sickly too, but he catches my eye and I'm like, I gotta hold him. I have to hold. I have to. So she opens the cage. I hold him, and he is rolling around in my arms. He is. I knew that was my cat. And Michael's like, I don't know, that cat's not that cute. Michael's like, that cat's kind of ugly. I don't know what you're talking. But Michael holds him and pets him, and he's like, and I think they were both 50, and we had a little extra money, so we were like, fuck it, let's just get both.
Well, I was like,
So-
I'm not leaving without my cat.
Yeah, you were like, I'm not leaving that. We're taking that cat, and I was like, I'm taking this cat as well. So you can have that cat. I'm taking this cat. I don't care. So we get both. We sign the papers. We pay the money. I think like a day or two later, we go to pick them up because they had to get neutered before they could leave. If people don't, I don't know if every Humane Society does it. At least that one did. They had to be neutered before they were given to the owner.
Keep telling the story. I'm gonna let our cat in because he's crying.
Okay. Well, I can do it. Hang on.
But you're telling the story though. Alright. You just crack it.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, anyway, so we get the cats. We get them. They get neutered. So we pick them up the day after. So they're still on the anesthesia. And they tell us, they might be a little groggy and they might be a little, standoffish, but it's just because they're fucking drugged. So we get home and we box them in our studio. There's a big room. So there's like a big room here. And then there's like a kitchen area. It's a studio. And then there's like a little hallway that leads to the bathroom. So we box up the hallway. We have a million boxes. I don't know if from Amazon or what we're moving. But we pile all these boxes. We pile all these boxes up to block off the hallway so that they can just kind of get familiar with the small area of the apartment first, and then we'll let them out into the rest of it. Immediately, this one, his name's Alan. We'll get to how we named him. But anyways, Michael names him Alan. Michael gets to name him. I get to name the other one because we picked them. Michael names this one Alan after a fictional character, Alan Shore, from
Boston Legal.
Boston Legal show, played by James Spader. Shout out James Spader if you see this. Not going to happen, but just in case. So this one is named after a James Spader character. He's a lawyer. He's an asshole lawyer. I named mine the other cat Jace because I'd always loved the name Jace, and I just always wanted either a pet or a child named Jace. So I choose Jace. Michael chooses Alan. So anyways, immediately Alan is up and ready to go. Anesthesia's worn off already. His adrenaline's pumping. He's ready to explore. Jace took a lot longer to get off the anesthesia. He was grumpy. Anytime Alan would go near him and bother Jace would kind of hiss because he was not in the mood. But we pet them. We made them feel loved, loved and all that. It didn't last long getting them boxed in there. We let them out pretty quick because I think Alan was jumping up on the boxes or knocking them over or something. He could not be contained. This fucker, I tell you, is an escape artist like no other. and he can get, it's just, anyways. So we now have cats. A few months later, though, so I'm still working at Head Audio. So beginning of 2018, I think March, our cat Jace started acting weird, and he kind of stopped eating. He wasn't doing. Oh, I don't know how much that cut off. It just went black though, so but anyways, so our cat Jace started not eating, wasn't doing well. And it's been 3 months living full time with this cat, so we were still pretty attached. So there was one day we took him into the vet, and we went in thinking, they were gonna treat him, and maybe we would have to get like surgery. I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. But I kind of researched before, so I kind of had some expectations as to what it was. So we get in there, they tell us he has some. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called, but basically his chest cavity outside of his lungs would fill with liquid. So it was putting pressure on him. He was uncomfortable. And they tell us, we can drain it and we can get it tested and make sure. They took a little out, I think, to see so they could look at it. And they said, by the looks of the liquid we got, this is what we are pretty sure it is. They're like, we can empty his chest cavity, drain it, and send him home. But more than likely, with what he has, you're going to have to keep coming back every 2 weeks to a month or so. And it's going to be $2,500, and he's going to be in misery, and it's not going to end. And there is nothing we can do to like cure this. Like, it's just going to be nonstop treatment the rest of his life. And we were concerned about the money, obviously, because $2,500 for that. But we figured, that we could probably work around somehow. But it didn't feel right knowing he would suffer. So the same day we brought him in, thinking we were gonna, get something done and leave with our cat, we put him down. And I had to call out of work that day. I'm gonna tear up now just thinking about it. No, because we had brought him to a vet before. No, the medicine thing was right off the bat after he was neutered. Oh, that's what. He had something else wrong with him, and like the first little bit we had him, he had medicine that we had to give him, and we still have that syringe to this day. But I will say that Jace was every time this Alan was a squeaker. He would just now he meows, but and now he screams. But at first he was quiet, barely could squeak. And Jace was a runt, but Jace would scream bloody murder whenever we went to feed him. So if we had food anywhere near Jace and he was hungry and we were not dumping it in his food bowl yet, he would scream bloody murder and and so he was the loud one, but Alan was the active one, but Jace was the loud one. And Jace was a runt. But he was also, I think he was Maine Coon. But Alan and Jace, they got close. At first, they were pretty weary of each other. They didn't really lay next to each other. But eventually, they laid with each other. They cuddled. They were brothers. And then all of a sudden, we didn't have Jace anymore. So I called out of work that day. Me and Michael made Jace a headstone. We got Jace's body. We were there with him when we put him down. It was awful. I would never let my pet go through that alone, but it's tough.
It was just watching him.
Yeah.
And then them injecting him and him just go down so instant. It was crazy.
Yeah, and it's weird because how they do it, they relax them, they like put them under, and then they inject what stops their heart. But so we could see him breathing. He was breathing when they put him under, and then
just an immediate slump.
Yeah, it was.
Down. But before they did that, I remember showing him a picture of Alan
Yeah.
brother. So
Yeah, we got to hang out with him for a bit. But anyways, they gave us his body in a little box, which is just so odd to me. But his mom let us bury him in the backyard, so our Jace is still
he's still with us.
in the backyard. We made him a headstone on a rock. We painted it. We had to repaint it because rain washed it away. But so he is still back there. But anyways, so moving forward, so that was 2018. So then later that year, July 26th, Michael proposed. He's still anxious. He's doing better. We're at least going out. Like we're still going. We're kind of now going out with like to like stores and restaurants, and we're going on dates and stuff. You're able to go out, but like you still have problems with like panic
You're
attacks.
talking about right now?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, 2018 when you proposed. So you proposed, and we were kind of going out, kind of you were getting better, but you were still at this point. You refused to believe it was what it was, which for anyone who doesn't, it's anxiety. He was having full blown panic attacks, and it was anxiety. You thought it was cancer. You were so sure it was some kind of. It had to be. You were dying. It had to be, even though you hadn't died in the 2 years. But it had to be death. But anyway, so we get engaged, and then I think you go to a doctor that same year. You're like, I have lumps, and they're like, nah, they seem like lymph nodes, something, you know. But so Michael's, but still so sure that this is cancer. And then, I think something happened. Something gets triggered. You are now scared to drive in cars, and you can't. You just can't. And also, well, I guess I should say also around the time of our proposal, oddly enough, we were fighting a lot. And so we kind of went through a rough patch there, which is, it's so odd that you proposed in the middle of that. Well, I guess you probably proposed towards the beginning of that, but there's a whole thing I'm not going to get into because I think some things should be left private. But anyway, so we're going through something and we're fighting a lot. But anyways, we get engaged. We kind of come out on the other end in 2019. We're doing better. I'm still working at Mesa Art Center. You're starting to feel better. And then I think it was towards the end of 2019 that the panic attacks in cars happened. Right? I think so. But anyway, so something triggers you. You are now scared to drive in. Specifically, Mom Spark. Specifically, the Spark. Because it's a tiny car, and that's where you've had a panic attack, so you're just triggered. But you hate it. Oh no, it had to have been before that because 2019 is when we took the trip to California. So it had to be like end of 2018. But anyways, okay, so I guess I should tell that. Mid 2019, you're still full blown having panic attacks and you're terrified of things. And I think you're terrified of cards at this point. Yeah, you had to have been because you said I'm not going unless I'm in Taylor's car, which because she had a bigger. Sorry, your sister's car, because she had a bigger car. She had like an SUV. And so we are midst of anxiety and panic attacks, planning to go to California for your sister's 21st, I think, to go to Universal, not to Disneyland, but to go to Universal. No. Thank you. He's a scratcher. Anyway, so you're panicking. We are in the parking lot, ready to get in the car to go to California, and you are full-blown panicking. I'm not gonna... Mom somehow convinces you to get in the car. We are now in the car going to California, and you are terrified of cars. You are having panic attacks, but you are just on your Switch, because we have a Switch at this point. You're on your Switch. You're locked in. You're just fucking... playing whatever. I think we're playing story mode of Smash, So Michael's just full blown trying not to have a panic attack on the 6-hour drive to California. Yeah, he makes it. We get to the house. He's like, as soon as we get to the house, to the Airbnb, he's like, we're okay. But funny enough, okay. So, anyways, I don't know if it was the first night or the second night. At one of the nights we're in California, I think we're only there 2 nights. There is an earthquake. And it was a small one from where we were. It was a big one where it happened, like the epicenter. I think it was like a 7. But by the time it got to us in LA, it felt like a muscle spasm to me. Like it felt like my muscles were just spasming. But all of us kind of like felt it, and we didn't, and no one knew if we were all actually, if everyone else was feeling it, or if we were all just tripping. Because I remember I looked at everyone else, and no one else had a weird face or anything. And then all of a sudden, everyone was like confused. And we were all like, did anyone else feel that? And everyone was like, yes, we all felt like that. We were like, oh, thank God we're not crazy. And then we all went outside after we felt it, and we all confirmed we felt it. We all went outside, and there were other people on the street, and we were all like, whoa, crazy. But anyway, so we had interactions. And then the next day, I think that was the first day. So then the second day we were there, we all went to Universal. Michael did go to Universal. We Ubered to Universal from the Airbnb because we didn't know if there was going to be room to park or if there was going to be paid parking. So we all Ubered to Universal, and we get there. We spent quite a few hours there, I think. We are obsessed with Harry Potter World because if y'all know me, I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and so is your sister-in-law. And your sister's kind of, and then I think your brother's kind of, and you're kind of. But at least 3 of us are fucking pumped for Harry Potter World. Me and your sister, we saw the Toad chorus by ourselves. They had like a VR 3D roller coaster. It was sick. Loved it. But at some point, you have had enough. You are done with people and crowds, and you don't even like roller coasters, and you definitely don't want to do VR or anything. So you're just done. So I Uber you back to the Airbnb, and then I leave you. And I go back to Universal because I can still get back in. And then so me and his family are at Universal without him. He's just at the Airbnb playing the Switch. And so eventually we get back, whatever. We leave California the next day. And you're better, you're doing better, but you're still scared of Mom's spark. So anyways, 2019 passes. I don't think anything else really happens unless you can think of anything. You almost got your cyst out, but whatever. I think you're still going through a little bit of stuff, but then was it 2019 or 2020 you got your? I think it was 2020. Anyways, so 2019, we are planning to have our wedding March of 2020. So 2019, we're probably just planning our wedding again. I get a dress, fancy dress, and Michael gets an $80 suit off of Amazon because he doesn't really care because he's still having panic attacks. So he's just like, just do whatever as long as we can actually do the marriage part quickly, so I don't have to be standing in front of a bunch of people while I'm having a panic attack. I was like, sounds good to me. Oh, my battery's running low. Hold on.
Is there a charger?
Okay, I'm at 6%, so let's make this quick. I don't know where the charger is for this, to be honest.
Let's
so anyway.
Pause real quick.
Okay. Back. Okay, anyway. Planning wedding, March of 2020. I think we all know what happens. COVID. We cancel our wedding. Michael's still having panic attacks. Well, I think you're kind of getting a little better, but it's still pretty bad. You're still scared of cars. Moved down 2020. You eventually get a therapist. You start working on some shit. You're like, okay, it's anxiety, and we're like, we know. thanks for the update, but we know. We tried to tell him this 4 years that it was anxiety, and he would not believe us. But anyway, he comes to the conclusion that it's anxiety. So he's working on that, and then all of a sudden he's quickly getting better, quickly being able to ride in cars, go places, be okay, and not because there was a time when it was hard for me to go to work and he wouldn't have like a panic attack. So he's doing better. He's able to be left alone, and that quickly developed into him being able to go places alone with other people, like not having me there. And here we are now. You've come quite a long way. You even just recently, I don't want to say broke up with your therapist, but like you and your therapist not long ago stopped having therapy sessions. Yeah, graduated. Graduated therapy, and here we are.
So basically, for the last 5 years, majority of that time, I couldn't go anywhere or do anything, and I was jealous of people that would walk down the sidewalk because I know that I couldn't, or I would freak out, and I definitely thought I was gonna die at first, and you guys were always telling me that, it was anxiety or whatever, and I just wouldn't listen. But to get to a place where I could become better, when I started therapy or whatever, I had to believe. Like, I went into those conversations thinking that they were actually going to help me. Because, like, if there is something wrong with you and, there might even be a cure, and maybe that has nothing to do with pills, but just, like, some sort of meditation or thinking about it or whatever would actually help. If you go into it thinking that it's stupid and it's not going to work, then it won't. But if you give it a chance to work, then it can, because like all that it really is to cure that sort of thing is even depression and any sort of negative mood. It's a distraction. Like if you're sad or whatever, finding things you like or enjoy to distract you from whatever you're sad about, or anxiety. For me, it was, I'm always thinking that I'm about to burst, explode, and die right then. But being able to calm myself down for a moment and realize that I'm okay, going into those conversations with my therapist, believing everything that she told me, eventually gave me courage enough to start walking a little bit further each day, and eventually I was able to get out of that. But for me to completely tell my entire story all the way through, I sort of have to mention what happened at the end. So I mentioned at the beginning of my story that I have always been very close with my family. Like, very close. Like, we get together every year. And before the internet, it was all the birthdays as well. But we have certain traditions of, like, always meeting up together at my uncle's house. And during the year of 2020, me and Journey moved out of that studio we moved into. We moved in with my cousin. Long story short, I'll try to condense it as much as I possibly can. There was a time where her son, it's not that he would be hurting me in this moment, but he's a little rowdy. He likes to wrestle. He likes to, get physical or whatever. And I always noticed when I, was around my family that my other cousins would, like, wrestle with him, and that would make him stop. But I'm not a very energetic sort of person. So I would just ask him to stop, and sometimes that wouldn't work. Again, it's not like he was hurting me, but
Yeah.
I talked to my cousin, and I asked her, if this happens and I ask him to stop, what should I do? Should I wrestle with him like my cousins do? How do I? And she responded to that, getting really upset, saying, "What the fuck do you want me to do about it?" She called him down. "Why the fuck are you doing this?" And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. And that turned into her saying that I'm retarded and I'm autistic and I'm this and that, and why am I not there for my son, and fuck me in every way possible, and just every mean thing you could possibly say. And I was just sitting there calm. I would correct her with the things that I could correct when I was able to talk, but she was constantly screaming and interrupting me. And at the end of that conversation, she said, "Sorry, I'm a girl and I get this way sometimes," and I forgave her immediately. And during this time, Journey is in Nebraska visiting her family, so I'm alone, dealing with this. But when Journey comes back, my boy cousin, who I've always been close with, started to, I don't know, become dickish to me and members of the family. But it was around this time where I was I wanted to make a Christmas movie for everybody. Because COVID, we couldn't get together, so I thought I could interview everybody and we could sort of be together digitally. So I asked my boy cousin if he wanted to be a part of it, and he was like, "I'm not really feeling the family, whatever." And I talked to him for about 45 minutes, because me and him were always pretty close. And, he basically just said that we, the family, are not on his level, and he really doesn't want to have anything to do with any of us. And I tried to, talk him out of that. Like, we've always gotten together. What are you talking about? But that didn't work. And, I wanted to know why my cousin, who I always felt was super close to me, who'd never been like this before, was acting this way. And I think maybe a year earlier in this, he had just broken up with the first, legitimate relationship he'd ever been in. And I wanted to know, because I know he's not an emotional person that's going to talk about his feelings. I wanted to know what happened. Like, is there something I can fix? Because I'm a fixer of things. So I asked his ex what happened, and she told me a bunch of stuff that I don't necessarily believe, and I'm not really going to get into, but
No.
I ended up telling his sister, the cousin that I am currently living with, that I just found all this out, and she had told me previously that she was really close with his ex, and that she really felt connected to her, and she would tell me stories about he was crying in NASCAR, and why does everyone think he's such an asshole, and blah, blah, blah. So all these stories she's telling me, I'm thinking that, I can trust her with the information I know. So I tell her what I know, and again, she responds to that by just saying, "Oh, I really miss her," or something like that, and that's pretty early on in December, like December 10th, I think, probably 2020. Anyways, so she that fight that I mentioned at the beginning of me telling this happened after the case of this talking to my cousin or whatever, like my boy cousin. And in the end of that fight, where she's calling me all these names or whatever, she's like, "You just needed to tell him that you talked to her," or whatever. And I'm like, "That's probably not a good idea, but we can talk about how maybe to do that." And the next day I wake up and she's already told her side of the family that I had contacted his ex. And they're all very, very mad, and he messaged me, the boy cousin, wanting the messages, and I'm like, well, first off, I want you to know my state of mind when I had this conversation, that I was really pissed off at you, because you just told me for an hour that you don't want anything to do with me. So I was a little confused how it would be possible for me to stab someone in the back when they sort of turned their back on me. But there was a restraining order situation or something, no contact order where they weren't allowed to talk. But with that, he could not tell me to talk to her, and she could not tell me to talk to him. They couldn't have communication through people. I could talk to either one of them. I have nothing to do with this.
As far as we're aware.
Yeah, I'm not my cousin, but they can't recruit me to talk to them. So if I gave him all this information, this conversation, that would sort of lean into some territory, gray territory, where I think he had a court date coming up where I didn't want him to get in trouble. So I definitely wanted to explain my current mood and all of that information at the same time because in my eyes, with the amount of heartbreak that I've gone through, the fact that he knows that I had this conversation and I have information pertaining to the person that he might feel very deeply for, I didn't feel right. And now that he knew about it, to keep that from him. So I always wanted to let him have it. I just had to let him have it in the context of, you should not have this information, so you need to be careful with this information. So he shows up, and I'm sleeping, and I hear yelling and screaming, and I'm really relieved, because I'm like, well, I'm not in that room, so it's probably not about me. But anyways, you're home at this point. You just came home from a bike ride. Hello. Am I glitching out? Okay. So you're home at this point. Is it still glitching? Hello. Oh, well, that's fucking loud as fuck. So you are TikTok on the clock. That's some wet ass. Okay. Hello.
Could also be, I don't know.
What do you think? Is it okay now? Hello, my name is Michael Hansen. Okay,
yeah, that's fine.
Alright, so, anyways,
he comes over, you hear
he comes
yelling.
over, he starts yelling at you, Robin, and, whatever, I don't care. And my other cousin start yelling at you. And,
So girl and boy.
Girl-boy cousin yells at you. You come to me, you tell me that they are here and he wants the messages. So I go outside, I haven't had any sleep, and I'm smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. And I just want to put context. I had no idea about any of the drama of wanting the messages. If anything was mentioned to me, it was briefly and in passing by Michael. I came home to something. I had no idea of what was going on or anything. I think I knew just briefly that, like, everyone knew, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know they were demanding that.
So Journey comes into this situation innocent and knowing nothing. And she tells me why they're here. I go outside. I'm stumbling, not stumbling, but I just woke up. So I smoke a cigarette. And they come outside, and there's some yelling. And
yelling.
But most of the conversation at the beginning is between me and boy cousin, and it's pretty calm. He tells me, how he feels, which is awesome because that's what he should do. And I tell him immediately, I have no intention on not giving you these messages, and I told him what I just explained, the why I wouldn't want to do that unless I had this conversation. And me and him had that conversation very calmly, but I realize, or just I can't get it out of my head, the fact that you just got yelled at. And so I turn to my girl cousin and I say, so what was the yelling about? And immediately veins start popping out of her head, her eyes bulge, rage throughout her whole body. I can see it. She's just lost to the fuse, gone. She's not there anymore. And she starts screaming in the top of her lungs, like there are people walking by. She has no care in the world other than just ultimate rage. And, you know, I'm retarded, I'm this and that. You guys need to leave. You need to move out. And if you don't leave, I'm going to leave and you're going to have to pay the rent. Ha ha ha. And all this is happening in front of my boy cousin who has still yet to stand up for me. But, you know, that's a topic for another day, I guess. But she's just losing her shit. Ultimately and completely, every possible mean thing you could ever say to a person. And every time there's a pause, I'm correcting everything she's saying. She notices it. She says, "You just think you're so smart. You should know exactly what to say." And that was the first punch back that was the only punch back I ever gave was, "Yeah, you're probably right. I do think that." She leaves very angry. Again, I turn to my cousin, my boy cousin, and I say, that has nothing to do with this, and you can still have these messages. And I hand him my phone. Very calm conversation. He leaves. But now I have a hostile situation in my house. And, you know,
Yeah, I think she actually, like, she kept kind of going in and out of the apartment, but I think she actually left in her car and left her son there.
Yeah. And then...
And I think she was gone for like a day.
Yeah, probably. So, you know, maybe a week goes by and, you know, we go into the living room, we're cooking food, and we offer it to her kids, and the kid eats with us, but she will not look at us or talk to us, and I'm sort of afraid to address her further than, like, I made dinner, you know, and it's just awkward. Even just to get a glass of water is like, we might get fucking screamed at. And she did. My plan was always to stay and start moving my things into the living room, because we had a 2-bedroom but a big loft where the kid would stay. But she had a bedroom, a loft, and the living room, and we had
She used the living room for her business.
Right, and we had a small bedroom, but she had like 75-80% of the house to herself. But we paid the exact same amount, and I had no problem with this because this is family, and there's love there, and, you know, maybe I can...
It was less than our fucking other apartment.
Yeah, maybe I can craft with her as well. Like, I had no problem with any of this. But now I did, and I decided I'm going to start moving my stuff in the living room, because it's my living room too. But ultimately, it was sort of decided that it wasn't really worth it. It was... I was just going to create a more hostile environment. And I love confrontation. I would have been happy to do it. But ultimately, it ended with a phone call with my older boy cousin. I was talking to him, and basically he told me he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't care. He's on that side. It doesn't matter what I say. And at that point, I realized that the most... I don't know if the right word is humble, but the kindest member and most understanding member of that family that I thought had just told me it doesn't matter what I say or what I do. I am wrong and they are right. And at that moment, I cried and I said, we have to go.
Oh my God, you are wrong.
No.
Yeah.
When I had the conversation with Jay.
Yeah, I know. But that's not how it happened.
Never am I wrong, but go ahead.
That's not how it happened, though. I want to say, girl cousin, we didn't know, but she left. And we realized she was gone. And somehow we found out she was going...
But all this happened after the conversation with Jay.
Yeah, but listen.
I know what you're going to say. I just hadn't got there yet.
Let me talk. I'm pretty sure you were texting Jay while she was probably still there. And I think you had a conversation with him maybe while she was still there or when we didn't realize she'd already gone.
She is already gone.
And then you come to me and you're like, this is fucked up. But we had already realized she was gone and she was going to be gone for the weekend or something, or we thought she was. But her son was still there. You were not the first one to say, let's go. Let's get out of here.
No, I'm sure other people had the idea.
No, me.
Yeah. Sure.
You were crying, but something cracked in me and I broke down and I was crying. And I said, I want to fucking leave. and then you were probably also crying or
Well,
had already
the thing
cried,
is
and then you were like, yeah,
the
let's
thing
go.
is if that J conversation did not
Mm-hmm.
happen, I was full planning on just being very.
Yeah, no, that was the definitely the last straw, but like I clearly remember crying and saying I want to fucking leave, and then you called mommy. You were like, Journey's crying. I just had this conversation with Jay. Neither of us want to be here. I think we're gonna just
Right,
we
but the
just want to fight.
importance of that J conversation is just because, like, I was gonna start moving my shit in the living room. And,
No, I
like,
know.
I would have.
I just wanted.
I would have drive her crazy. She would have moved out,
Oh yeah,
but it was.
it wasn't just it happened and then you were like, let's go. We both broke. I broke. She was gone and we had been talking to your mom and then you had already had the conversation with Jay and I just fucking broke and I cried and I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, but
I broke and then you had already been broke. So like seeing me break down, you were like, all right, yeah.
so at this point, half of my family hated my guts, didn't want to talk to me, didn't want to have anything to do with me, and the kindest, most understanding person of that family that I knew basically said, I don't care what you have to say. They're right, you're wrong. And at that point, that was the last straw for me. And yeah, we had.
But
we had to
anyways,
get
we
out.
both broke and
So we started this year, 2021, homeless. We went and stayed with my mom, put all our stuff in a storage room.
yeah. And like a quick interjection, the night that we broke down, we were like, we can't do this. We called his mom. We said, we need to get out of here. She talked to Michael's stepdad, and they were like, all right, we're going to get a U-Haul in the morning. And, well, I think they were like, all right, we'll put it off. So, we'll get, and we were like, no, she's gone. We need to fucking do this. We literally packed up everything. We packed up probably like half or more than half of our shit during that night, and then we woke up and finished packing, and we got the fuck out of there. Midday, we had all of our stuff put in a storage unit, and we were living on their couch.
And we could, we were homeless, technically, but we could finally breathe. I mean, I think we stayed there for like a month.
A month and a half, yeah.
And then we got a new place. And this place is cheaper than what the studio ended up becoming. And it's bigger. We have our own, we have a bedroom and a living room. What the hell?
We have 2 rooms to
This
ourselves.
is crazy.
We've and our whole relationship, it went from bedroom to studio to bedroom. God. Hopefully you guys didn't miss much. Bedroom to studio to bedroom to now we have 2 separate rooms that we get all to ourselves.
But adding to that, there were lies that started coming out of we didn't pay rent, we turned off the electricity, we turned off the internet. None of those things happened, and we have receipts to prove that those things happened. And I believe I sent a screenshot, or maybe I definitely have announced that I can prove that out loud. They just don't care. I'm wrong, they're right. There's nothing I could possibly say. I'm bad, they're good. None of them have. I tried to talk to the mother of these people. She basically said, fuck me, she doesn't want anything to do with me. I was kind to her the entire conversation.
She called you an asshole, your mother an asshole.
Yeah, fuck the family, fuck everybody.
Everyone's a piece of shit.
Yeah, and I'm, saying, I love you. You sure you don't want to, maybe we could talk about it.
Yeah, it was.
See, I think the thing with me is anger for me is the worst thing ever. I think that's because in my childhood I had a real problem with anger, and now I try so hard to not allow myself to get angry. Like those fights that I had with my cousin, screaming rage that I was the calmest person in the whole world. My aunt, who I thought loved me my whole life, who I would go to her house every Christmas, every Halloween, every holiday, who I love, basically saying, I don't care what you have to say, I don't want to hear it, you're wrong, and you're also a piece of shit. Get a job, you fucking loser. What does that have to do with family and love and me? I've been told the worst things from people that are really deeply important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're yelling and screaming at me, and I don't show an ounce of aggression to them.
Mm-hmm.
I could.
Oh.
I could fuck some people up. Now, I'm not a physical person, and I don't mean it in a physical way. But I'm not wrong in these situations.
Mm-hmm.
They will not give me the time of day, and I'm the most forgiving person. All I have to do is say, dude, I love you, and that's all that matters. And I would be like, I love you too. Because that's all that matters. But they can't get there. They won't get anywhere near there. They know that I know. And I'm an impenetrable wall. And I'm not an impenetrable wall of anger, or I just happen to know.
Mm-hmm.
And they cannot allow me to exist in their lives knowing who they are. And, you know, people change, man. Like, I'll forgive you. Always. I'll forgive anyone. I invite my worst enemy over for dinner. We can hang out. There's no limitations. Anyways, when I was with my cousin living there, I was able to go to parks. And moving out, you know, I've used the therapy I was given or whatever, and you know, I'm not all the way gone with my fear, but like I did, like, there was a time that I couldn't walk outside.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think my mom lives a mile away, I don't know, but that's a long time for someone like me. I rode a bike to my mom's house, a flat tire. It sucked. I had a panic attack midway through because I couldn't breathe just because of the...
Because you had a flat tire
Right.
and you were trying to pedal.
But I sat down, calmed myself down, and I didn't...
Continued riding on a flat tire.
I'm doing good. And, you know, that all leads to the Halloween where they don't want to have nothing to do with us. A Christmas that they're not going to want to have anything to do with us. But half my family's still here. And it's pretty big. And I love everyone. Even the people that hate me. Like, I hate their actions. I hate their thoughts. Mm-hmm. But if you have the ability to just realize love is really all that kind of matters.
That you need. Love is all you need.
I love you. I'm here, no matter what. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. Well, that's Michael's life story. You can find it in print in probably 10 years. Whenever he
Journey will probably write it. I'm not gonna.
decides to write it. I don't know when we're gonna do another one of these. I get pretty busy with work, and then I get lazy on my days off, and then we have a bunch of errands to do. But anyways, life happens. So if we don't get another podcast out soon, adults have lives.
Yeah, I'm life.
This isn't my job.
Very important. Lots of things to do.
So many things. I mean, I do, but but anyway, so that's gonna be the end of this episode, Michael's life. We might have to split into 2 parts, honestly, because it's pretty long.
We
No,
can pause it.
you are not putting a 4-hour episode out. Split it up. Split it into your life and then your anxiety, because that anxiety is terrible. Anyways, next episode, I don't know what we're gonna do. Could be my life story. Could be
Could be anything.
whatever the fuck else we want to talk. Everything in between.
We'll start arguing about something.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring up topics that we know we'll argue about. No. All right, but that's gonna do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully the audio was a little better. This didn't see anything that looked like it was fucking up. But I know I'm an audio engineer, but we don't have the best software because we're poor. So, but that's also probably why I keep looking over at the things because I'm an audio engineer, so I just am constantly. I have to
Because
make
I'm
sure the
so
levels are
ugly
good.
that she can't look at me for too long.
No, I just have to my brain's just I have to make sure the levels are good. But all right, well, thanks for stopping by. um, but thanks for listening, guys. If you listen this long, you
You're
know.
the real one.
But hopefully we will get another one out soon, and we'll be talking about some more interesting stuff. So stay tuned, and thanks again for listening.
Peace out.
Bye.